Hello, everybody, and we are back on the pod.
We're back.
We are
folks.
back, everybody. So, yeah, we're back. It's another Thursday for us. It's a Wednesday for you. So, yeah, we're here this evening. We got some special stuff here this evening. So it should be an interesting episode. But first, we're going to shout out some stuff. So we got our Shopify shop up and rolling again. Check out the sick steins we got. We got
glasses, brother.
new hats. We got new tees, all kinds of cool stuff. So check that stuff out. Also, thanks everybody again for following us on the Instagram.
Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby.
We're almost at 800 followers, so we definitely appreciate everyone who's been following along, everyone who's been liking and sharing the shit. We fucking appreciate it, so we love you.
Yeah, awesome, man. So, Ryan Snow's got a little Irish
crickets for the
Irish
for the
crickets
boy.
for you.
All right, folks. What do we have for tonight, folks?
All right, everybody. So, you can see, everybody, there's a gentleman on my screen over here. We have mentioned his name at least 400 times.
Do you know what? I think we've probably mentioned him on
At almost every single
80
podcast.
to 90% of the pods that we've had here.
Easily, yeah, no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely.
So, without further ado, we are going to bring in the man, Jon Kennedy. What's up, man? Welcome in.
Friends, hello.
Hey.
Hello, everybody. So, yeah, how you been, man?
I've been doing all right.
You're looking good?
Working, not much else.
Just out here.
Longtime friend.
Just living.
Longtime
Good,
friend. We've had, like I said, we've mentioned him numerous times on the podcast before, going from music stuff to movie stuff to skateboarding stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To,
A little bit of everything.
You know what I
really.
mean? And, like, I think we've all kind of grew up in the same. Well, we grew up in the same town. We're all from the same hometown.
Yeah.
Bishops Falls, shout out. And
Shout out, BF.
you know what I mean? And we all grew up in that scene of just, the dawn of the internet, the dawn of, you know what I mean? Like new media and stuff like that. And I think we all kind of gravitated towards that. And I think a lot of what I know came from this man. So we definitely appreciate having you on the pod here tonight.
Yeah,
so.
buddy. It's excellent to
I'm
see you.
stoked to be here.
It's good to see you, man. So,
First guest, I think.
First guest, especially over the interwebs, getting beamed in from the internet.
Yes, beamed in from the interwebs. Look,
Straight from Hamilton.
Straight out of Hamilton.
Straight from the hammer.
Straight from the hammer. That's wicked.
That's wicked.
Yeah, no, man, it's been good. So everything looks good, man. So yeah, we're just gonna shoot the shit again here tonight and hang out and fucking talk some stuff or whatever. So we were just talking off air, but we'll talk about it again. So I brought this along. That got left at my house. So this is photosynthesis, like one of the greatest of all time fucking skate videos ever made, probably.
For me, fucking the most influential. The reason I became a filmmaker is because of that video. You know, like the reason I got into all the weird shit that I ended up into is because of Alien Workshop, basically.
Alien Workshop was the best, yeah. And not to say that there's nothing wrong with them now, but they were better then. They were cooler. There was something cooler about them. They had some kind of cool mystique to it.
Their team right now is really dope, actually.
Yeah.
Like they've been killing it lately. I don't know if you guys followed like the turmoil they went through in like the early 2010s, but they got sold to I think they got sold to Burton first, and then to some weird like venture capital company, and then like Rob Dyrdek bought them back.
Yeah, Dyrdek bought them back. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Dill and Ave left. It was just like chaos for a while, but they've recovered surprisingly well.
Their teams have always been good, man. That's one thing I will say. I see a lot of their, the stuff they throw down on, for whatever, like Instagram or whatever it is, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. And then I know they put out a video on what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe, or something like that, like just after the pandemic, maybe. Can't remember. Yeah. It was fairly recent anyway. That's a banger film. Every time I see clips, they're always banger clips. So yeah, no, shout out to Alien Workshop. I love you.
But the Alien itself, though, like for the 90s and the culture of skateboarding, the alien. I think. Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like it kind of like I had a poster like on my wall just of a big alien head. Like aliens, you know what I mean. We'd go get like sweaters up in Grand Falls at what was it, Crazy Chester's with an alien. He's got an alien on his thing right now.
Crazy Chester's.
Crazy Chester's. Yes,
I had a
deep cuts. Take a shot.
Super
like
deep
I had
cut.
a hacky sack with an alien head on it.
Yeah. So like the aliens, you know.
Yeah, like I got a little alien head on my shirt right now.
Something
You're
with the
hearing a rose
skateboarding,
around.
and maybe it was all just a rip.
Actually,
Yeah, just a rip from Alien Workshop, right? But you know,
Yeah, man.
fucking A, like Alien Workshop was.
But I remember I had like the leader. Yeah,
There we go.
More Alien Workshop.
Yeah, man.
Representation.
There we go.
Nice, man. Nice. I almost bought that deck the other day. Actually, they had it at. I was in in Edmonton or wherever I was there a while ago. I almost bought it there, and I was like, man, because it wasn't in the OG color. It was a new colorway for the deck and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, this is sick. So I was like, yeah, I almost bought it. I didn't get it, but I should have. I just want one to put on my wall.
It just dropped some really nice decks this week, actually.
Oh, nice.
I think.
I should look at that again.
Check
them out.
I think Sammy Montano maybe has a really nice deck that I considered ordering. I don't need a new deck, but
I haven't pushed on mine. Well, I do. I should just lied. I go to the indoor skate park with my kids all the time.
I don't get out skating nearly as much as I would like.
I don't think any of us really.
Jesus.
And like, it's ironic because like I'm probably in the best shape that I've been since I was in high school.
Yeah,
I'm like very uncharacteristically like a person who goes to the gym and shit now.
Oh,
but
nice. Well, we're
Good
pushing
for
for
you.
it. We're pushing 40.
40's almost
here.
there, buddy. It's pretty close.
Man, I just turned 39 and it's fucking me up.
Well, you are literally in the middle of our midlife crisis, so there is that.
Yeah, here we are. Making a little podcast midlife crisis over here.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what it's all about, I suppose, right? Like,
no, it's all good.
It's good therapy. We're not doing anything bad, so
that's true.
Could be worse.
It is like therapy. We're talking it all out here.
Yeah, man, talking it out. Yeah, man, fucking holy fuck. That's funny.
So, you know, we kind of center ourselves around the 90s, of course, like you know already and stuff like that. Like and we talked about the skateboarding and stuff like that. So like you're a filmmaker, as you said. So like what are some things that like early on in the 90s and early on in your teen years that kind of made you kind of shape the kind of filmmaker that you are?
Honestly, I spent like a lot of time like watching Showcase.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
amazing.
I hear
like,
you.
That's how
always
like,
a little bit off the cuff, a little off
weird,
center,
weird foreign films and stuff.
That's how I saw Kids for the first
Yeah,
time.
100%.
Which was obviously a big film for all of us. These
absolutely
shithead skaters being shitheads in New York. And then like they showed Gummo, which is which was directed by Harmony Korine, who wrote Kids. And the crazy thing I learned recently about that movie is the setting. The town is in Xenia, Ohio. It's set in a town called Xenia, Ohio, and like a lot of like the weird like VHS aesthetics and stuff that Korine used in it was influenced by Alien Workshop's memory screen video.
Oh wow!
And that's at the end of the credits for Memory Screen. It says that they were located. Alien Workshop was located in Xenia, Ohio, and that's why he set the film in Xenia, Ohio.
Oh,
that's a deep cut, fucking little bit of knowledge. That's good.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's wicked, actually. That's a little hookup. Skating is infiltrated. Well, that's something I've discovered in my older years. Is that skating actually technically infiltrated a lot more places than we thought it did.
Yeah.
Like especially like something like I've been really into like comedy, like stand-up comedy, and like following comedians almost like bands kind of almost recently. And that's something I've discovered about a lot of comedians is that like they were super into skating and like they skated and they're our age and they were into the same stuff that we were into and grew up roughly in the same time frame, even though they were whatever city in New York or wherever these kids grew up to. But it's interesting, right? Like it's funny to me. Like I find that very interesting. It just infiltrated weird spaces that I didn't think it did. Or like two people that I didn't think it hit or whatever, I guess. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave fucking rips on a skateboard.
Man.
He's like super tight. He's like super tight with like Atiba and stuff. And
That's amazing.
But that's what I mean. Like it's weird spaces, man. Super weird spaces.
Well, I always like kind of was proud at the fact that Jason Lee kind of made it into movies and stuff like that, right? Because like he was a skater. It's like, oh, like he's a skater and he's like making
like Spike Jonze as well. Like he's made so many amazing films, and it's like,
oh yeah, man.
You know, he got his start. You know, shooting for I think like Trans World or whatever.
Yeah, because the episode of Non Club, he talks about like all the like just right soon, like episode 12 or something like that. Like it's fairly, you know, right in the beginning of the podcast, and they have him on or whatever. And he talks about like how he originally started like on the streets filming stuff, just filming people doing stuff and like filming, and then it was like, well, he couldn't get himself to do anything or anybody else to do anything, so he started filming himself doing weird shit. So like then that video where he's the dancing video. What song is that?
Weapon of Choice, Fatboy Slim.
Praise You, where he's dancing outside the
those, but
whatever the movie theater or whatever it is, or the community theater or whatever. Yeah, right. Like very guerrilla shit or whatever, right? Super funny. And then like you know, blind movies, you know, like all that shit was fucking.
Yeah, well, that's how he shot Video Days for Blind, and somehow it got in the hands of Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth. And she was like, she got him to like co-direct the video with I can't remember her name now, Tamara Davis. Can't remember what she directed some like classic 90s comedies. And like that's how he became a filmmaker and, you know, ended up, you know, winning Oscars and shit.
That's amazing.
But still doing skate videos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like weird shit, just like, completely weird fucking shit.
Yeah, I mean that's how like what's his name? Owen Wilson ended up in Girls video.
And then like the Brad Pitt fucking getting kidnapped, and like he kind of he's all into, like, you know what I mean? Like he's tied to that, all this stuff. Like it's funny, man. Yeah, it's infiltrated weird spaces, man. And like that was a thing too, like it infiltrated Hollywood. Even like Muska. Like when Muska was at the peak of his fucking cocaine fueled alcohol addiction.
I was explaining this to my partner earlier in the car, actually, because we were like driving behind an Escalade. So I was talking about the Muscalade.
The Muscalade.
Absolutely.
And, you know, like how I always show Leah, my partner, pictures of the like groundhogs or whatever it is that he has living on his property now.
Yes, he feeds him carrots and tomatoes.
Him standing on the fucking thing.
20 years ago, he was, you know, partying with Paris Hilton and shit. And it's like
being followed around by TMZ.
What a weird fucking life that dude had.
Man, the early 2000s were like a weird fucking fever dream and booze and
Jason
fuse.
Dill
I have
showing
no
up
idea,
on the
man.
Osbournes and
and I mean Jason Dill in general. Holy fuck! Every time I see him, he looks like a completely different human being.
I don't remember that. Jason Dill was on the Osbournes.
Oh, he's been everywhere, man.
Yeah, he used to party with Jack Osbourne a lot. So he ended up like there's an episode of the Osbournes where he like crashes on their couch, and I think he ends up like knocking a clock onto their stove. And
Hey, that's a deep cut.
Dude.
There's a couple people, because what's the dude that hangs out with him? Oh my god, Brendan. He skates for Baker, or skates for Baker technically. Blonde hair dude. He's like in a bunch of movies and shit. I can't remember what his name is now, but anyways, yeah, like they all kind of. I can't remember what his last name is now, but anyway, they're all in the same scene. Like they all kind of do the same shit and whatever. It's funny. Interesting fucking bunch.
Absolutely.
Going to Hollywood parties.
Dill is honestly, he's still my favorite.
He's
like
mad,
that guy's
man.
in my favorite sit. Like everything he does with like FA and hockey is sick. And like,
he was an absolute, like he did a lot. He pioneered a lot of things himself. Like he did his own thing. He kind of blazed his own trail. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was a weirdo in a group of weirdos.
Yeah, that's true, right? Like it's like Bilal and all them kind of like got on the one thing, and now they're like completely off of that onto this kind of like very mystique.
Yeah,
I'm living in France type of an attitude or whatever, right? Like very
Tom Penny,
right, or whatever, right?
Tom Penny's still skating though.
He's a beast, man. Every time I see a clip, I'm like, dude, you're what, 50? Whatever, older than me, regardless, right? And you're fucking out there pounding frontside flips everywhere.
I know,
like everywhere, man. And the craziest obstacles, like I seen a clip yesterday. It's like just a little, like up the building ramp thing. Like it just goes up the pedestal kind of thing or whatever, right? And boop, up he goes. Like, it's only wide enough to fit up. Like, you can't even really do, like, I don't know what I would do on it. Like, I would ride up it and ride back down. And he does like this badass front side flip, just rides away like just no big.
Are we gonna have to start skating again this summer?
May have to pull it out.
Oh, we're gonna have to fire up the old skateboards over.
Pull it out again. Fucking.
I fucking set my shit up the other day, so
let's go.
I go for a rip every now and then.
I'm all for it. I got my board in my truck. Because it
was
was nice.
My kid skates now, man. He'll fucking go for a rip.
Let's take your young one down to the skate park.
He goes for a rip every time I go for a rip.
Get him a little skateboard,
yeah, he goes for. He got a little skate. We got a little fucking just like you. Everybody learn a little fishtail, fucking
sweet
little ditty, right? But he loves that thing. You know, he can ride on the scooter, do whatever, man. Fucking.
Yeah,
it's just fun. I just goes in and rips around. I don't even do trick. I can't. I'm not doing tricks. Like I maybe I'll do a kickflip or some bullshit, but I'm not doing anything. Serious. I'm not getting into any serious. I just like cruising around as fast as I possibly can go. That's like my favorite part of the whole thing. Yeah, just go like cruise around the ramps, like you know what I mean, like zip around the bowls as quick as possible and shit like that, right? Like I'll take my big wheeler down there and fucking get right crazy.
I wish I could. I wish I could like ramp skate a little bit better.
Yeah, 100%.
Like bowls and stuff, and you know.
I'd love to be able to skate the bowl, just like to be able to like get onto the little board slide, maybe just a little fucking 50-50 around the corner. Like, but I'm too scared. It's too big, and I'm too scared.
Stuff like that always terrify me. I can handle like ledges and stuff, but like
I can jump
bowls or like
the bowls
that was always my strong point. Like I had a high ollie. That was always the one good thing I was actually good at.
Yeah, it's fucking interesting, man. And then we've kind of picked it back up a few years ago and started skating again. It was like a whole different thing. But I got better than I was when I was like younger, almost like because I took note of what I was doing and you know what I mean, or what I was doing wrong, I guess, or whatever we want to put it. And like that. It was different. But
like I can like I'm not super consistent or anything, but like I can hit tray flips and heel flips like half of the time now.
It's not bad. I can't do no trays.
And like 20 years ago, I was struggling to hit a kick flip. So.
Maybe we're just got that old man strength here now.
I think it's a bit the flip. I think it's an old man flip. That old man flick.
Maybe we got that old.
See, I got a wonky left leg, so my flip, like my pop foot kind of thing, like the foot I used to kick with, like kick down with, is really like slow.
You walking with a limp over here? Or what?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Oh shit, son! You need a cane?
Maybe.
Oh damn.
We're approaching that. No, fuck it. But it's wonky. It's a wonky. It's literally because I got one leg longer than the other, so that hip is kind of getting a bit worn out or whatever the fuck goes on there. But it's slow now. So like to pop it is one thing, but to pick my leg back up after I popped is like, oh my god. Yeah, does not work the same way.
That was a bit of a tangent though. To bring it back to like my like 90s film influences and shit. What really got me into filmmaking, actually, to bring it specifically back to fucking Bishop's Falls in the 90s. I was when I was working on Damp's website.
Yeah.
I was,
wasn't that epic?
I was like designing their website for them. So I was hanging out with Nipper and Rideout all the time. So they would always put on like DVDs and shit in the background. And then so like that's how I saw Fight Club for the first time, which like blew my fucking mind.
A bit of Fincher.
Misunderstood film. I will defend that film to this day.
If you don't read too deep, it's just a bunch of dudes trying to solve their shit, man. It's just a bunch of dudes trying to figure it out. It don't have to be any more than that. It don't have to be more than that.
But then Nipper was, I think he was going to art school in Corner Brook at the time as well.
Oh my god!
So he made a short film there called Fold.
Yes, I remember. And like I remember getting the VHS copy off and getting a loan off it from you. Oh baby, and they had the Radiohead song on there. Oh baby, oh shit! What a beauty!
Because I got him, I pirated him the software that he edited it with.
Nice, as usual.
I'm credited for
fuck them bitches, who big corporation motherfuckers.
Fuck them bitches is right.
Yeah, suck it, Sony.
Sony, proper thing too, because you.
No, that was a sick, and it was awesome. And that's actually shit that kind of influenced me too.
So I got something for you now on that. Do you remember the first when he moved there? He made that film Student or whatever, and it's like him playing a bunch of people. So it's basically like sitting at the round table. So the camera's in the middle, like that's the intention. But it's him playing every character, and it flips.
That. Oh no, I don't remember that.
I have a copy. I'm pretty sure if I looked around on my hard drive here, I have it.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I'm like a walking fucking. I have like everything that I've had since Napster was around. But that's the thing. That's funny you mentioned that. As soon as you said it, it was like I have that video on my computer somewhere. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I bet you I could dig
Fold
it out.
was nuts.
That was like the first time I was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, man.
So
exactly.
I became like super like, started like figuring all, like I didn't end up making my first short film until like 10 years after that, but I was like, figuring shit out for a long time. Because of that, I was like, hell yeah, this is like, this is what's up. This is what I'm doing.
Yes, it was a core. It's like one of those core like childhood kind of things that shape who you were. Because they the guys that you mentioned, they influenced me as well as in with music and
like even
all
like
kinds
skating,
of things.
like
Everything, absolutely. Right? Maybe we'll have one of those motherfuckers on the pod here one of these days.
Oh yeah, we probably could. Yeah,
but like. So what you mentioned your first film that you did, what was that, and tell us what that was about.
That was called We're Undone. I think I shot it in 2013, maybe 2014. That was like I wrote the script for it in like a single day while I was at work, and like the kid that I work with like in like group homes with kids with like developmental disabilities and stuff. So the kid that I was working with at the time was like very independent. He would just like go do his things. I just like sitting around doing nothing basically until like he needed me to help him with something. So I like just like whipped out my notebook and like wrote down like this entire outline for this film. So the premise is basically this person wakes up like on a cliff overlooking Portugal Cove, and is like looks around and like realizes that they don't know where they are. So they find their way back, and they're like walking along the road, and this person stops and picks them up and brings them home. And when they knock on the door, this woman answers when the main character is expecting their husband to answer, and they find out that they've been missing for 5 years, but their time hasn't, like that 5-year gap doesn't exist for them. Like it's just like they fell asleep and then woke up 5 years later. So the film is just like,
wait, we're into something here.
Real a little weird, a little spooky, which is my general
little bit of
my general oeuvre.
Getting in Twin Peaks area there.
I like it. I like that.
That's that is David Lynch is probably my top influence. So
I like that. I know for a fact. I mean, we haven't really spoke a lot in a long time, but I do know for a fact that is one of your favorite things, and I do enjoy it myself. To be fair, I quite enjoy it. Twin Peaks is fucking right.
Since the first time, I was
Twin Peaks is fucking wicked.
The first time it's so weird the way I came to David Lynch. I was I don't know if you guys remember, I was really into the game Silent Hill. In high school. And still like that. The first 4 Silent Hill games are still 4 of my favorite video games of all time. I still have
I thoroughly enjoy
over game. There with so good. But one night I was reading about the various things that influenced Silent Hill, and Twin Peaks was on the list. And so I was I gotta find, and there was no way to watch Twin Peaks at that time. There was a VHS release that was impossible to find. And then I don't know if you guys remember, satellite and digital cable had this network called Scream.
Yeah. It was one of those separation networks. I'm gonna genre this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
I know
it was just all
exactly.
horror and thriller movies and stuff.
Gore shit, whatever.
And so going back before this, actually, Showcase did a David Lynch weekend. I think it was in the lead up to the release of Mulholland Drive. So Friday night,
that sounds right. Actually,
they showed Blue Velvet and Wild at Heart, and then Saturday night they showed Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me and Lost Highway.
Good. I love that.
Yeah, and I was
Mulholland Drive is one of my favorite movies too. Actually, to be fair.
Yeah, no, same. But they. So I was okay, I know I've heard of David Lynch. I know I should check him out, and I know Twin Peaks was an influence on Silent Hill, so that's the one I'll watch. And I sat down to watch it. I was what the fuck is going on? Like, it was like too much for me to handle at the moment. I was like, I couldn't comprehend.
Did you jump in at the beginning, or did you pile in like anywhere?
No, I jumped in like trying to watch Fire Walk with Me first. That was
I see. Okay, I see.
Yeah,
I see where your confusion is.
Yeah. So I was like completely out of my depth, and like I didn't try to watch any of the other movies that they were showing, but I was like, I still got to check this guy out. Like, and then one day I was at fucking Buddy's Convenience.
Hey.
Buddy. Yeah. This all sounds right.
I was like just like looking at the DVD rack, and Mulholland Drive was there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna rent Mulholland Drive and see what this is all about. So I rent it. I go home down in the fucking den downstairs on Green Ridge, and
classic.
Well,
sat on the carpet.
That was a classic spot. Yeah,
got a carpet burn on the carpet.
I'll get to some stories about that in a bit. But I like Mulholland Drive in, and it just like blew my fucking mind. I was like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever
so
seen
good,
in my
man.
life.
It's so
and
good.
like from that moment, I've been like just like completely obsessed with David Lynch.
That's wicked.
Yeah, and then like Scream ended up showing like probably like a year later. Scream ended up showing Twin Peaks. So I was like watching that. Like I remember at the time, like I was skating with Smorg a lot at the time, and like he would like call me up. I was like, no, I got to finish this episode.
This is the only time I'm ever going to get to watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
It only comes on TV once a year.
Deadly.
Yeah, and then like Lynch had his like davidlynch.com website at the time as well, where he was just like posting like little digital shorts and stuff. And
I didn't know that. I would have checked it. I didn't know that.
It was a lot of it was a pay. Some of it was free, but a lot of it was pay. So like he put Rabbits up for free, which was like really like wild to like experience out of like. So like Rabbits is like part of Inland Empire, which is like my favorite David Lynch film. Like a fucking 3-hour nightmare shot on like consumer grade digital video. It's incredible. But like Rabbits is
it's sick,
just
man.
like,
I know what I've never really seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
I've heard of it, but
I
I've
know
never
what you
seen
mean.
it.
It's wild. It's not for everyone.
I'm gonna check it out now that you've seen it though.
Yeah, Criterion Collection just released remastered version of it that they used they use like Topaz Video AI to upscale it to 4K.
What? Oh my God! Have mercy on my soul.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, yeah, then that's a different experience.
It looks, so like when Inland Empire came out, so like when it was announced, I was like, okay, I was like in the depths of my David Lynch obsession at that point, and like it was just like, okay, when is this movie coming out? When, like, I need to see it as soon as I fucking can. So I'd be like checking torrent websites constantly for it. And then like one day in like September 2006 or whatever, one single torrent for it pops up. So I download it, and it's dubbed in Italian with no subtitles.
Yeah.
This is a 3-hour movie we're talking about. I watched the whole fucking thing dubbed in Italian.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
commitment, man. That's commitment.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's obsession.
You're big time fan.
You could probably get the gist of it though, because there's a lot of standing, talking, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
and like
it's not like a cut
he's
and film. Like none of these things are like that.
He's such a visual like filmmaker too, that like you like it's like the like imagery he creates is just like terrifying on its own. Like just like so unsettling.
You mix that with a little bit of audio, just enough to like like, you can tell it's getting suspenseful, even though you don't know what exactly they're saying. You can just tell. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of his stuff too. To be fair, man. Like I know, like I say, like I'm not obsessed with it, but I do. Like I've known about him for like as long as I've started being really into films. I've been into, and part of the reason that I was into a lot of his films is that a lot of his films don't have a whole lot of stuff going on. Like in terms of like, it's for my end, like I like audio shit. Like that's that's my whatever.
And
I like film
knows his way around
stuff.
Some fucking audio design.
It's cool, yeah. Like like that's what I like about Mulholland Drive. It's pretty dry. Like it's only exciting when it needs to be, or it's only the emotion, or it's only the thing when it needs to be. Like when people are just standing there talking, there isn't dramatic music for the sake of dramatic music. It's dramatic because now it's silent, and you're so used to hearing fucking, big crazy orchestra bullshit or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? You're used to a lot of stuff happening in your movies. And then when you don't, it's almost unsettling because there isn't anything really happening other than they're talking or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know something's going to happen, or you're expecting something to happen. It's like the best.
Yeah.
Oh, he's good, man. Like, and the same, like I like Fincher, right? For the same kind of premise. He kind of builds this film around what it should sound like. You can kind of tell like his visuals are going for something, like in terms of the audio, like it's going for that. Like when he directed like A Perfect Circle, like Judith video, like you can kind of see, like, I mean, it looks like it looks a lot like Fight Club, but it has that, you know, it goes very well with the song, like the aesthetic, the whole thing. There's not much going on other than the band's playing for the most part, but the other stuff, like the little snippets and the cracks and the cuts and it fits so good. There's certain people, man, are super good at that stuff, and those guys are good at it. I will say that. But I should get into more fucking Twin Peaks stuff. I should watch more of that.
Oh man, like Twin Peaks: The Return is one of the like most.
Because what was the gap? Like, because Twin Peaks went out there in what, the 90s, early 2000s, or whatever.
Twin Peaks season 2 ended in 91. Then Firewalk with Me came out in 92, and then
that's
Twin Peaks: The Return. Twin Peaks: The Return came out in 2017.
That's right, yeah. Because I was thinking there was a longer gap between that and Firewalk, but there was only like a year or whatever it was. That's right.
Yeah, I remember watching the new stuff with my fiance, and she got right into it, and she actually went back and watched the old stuff. Yeah, and she got right into it, and it was just like, holy cow, like
it's really good. It's really good. Like it's great. And it's different, which is cool, right? Something you don't. It's something you don't get every day, right? Like
and like
it's really cool.
It really runs the gamut too of like. At like points, it's fucking hilarious. Like it's some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. But then like a scene later can be like the scariest thing you've ever seen. Like it's such a
dynamic. It's got lots of dynamics.
Definitely some unsettling scenes. It was just
it's weird. Like to me, it's like a modern, like that specific, not like all of his work, but I find that show in particular as like a modern Hitchcock almost. Like if I was to put it somewhere, because Hitchcock kind of still had that little bit of humor. There was something, whatever about it. Like,
Vertigo especially is a really big influence on Lynch, actually.
Oh yeah, I can see that, because like it's just something about it. Like even like a Hitchcock, as much as like everybody, I mean, when we watched it, it's not as terrifying as it was when it came out, because it's it's just not, right. It's just same as watching something from the 80s, whatever. It's all the same, right? It's not as terrifying, but I get why it was, and then I can see that influence in that kind of stuff.
Dead
for
inside,
sure.
I'm not terrified by anything these days.
I watched too many things on the internet. Got into that.
More taxes, baby. More taxes.
Got into them faces of death. Now this is where I am.
Man,
download the wrong internet video one time.
A friend of mine sent me a message yesterday. I think it was actually. He came across five editions of Faces of Death at like a thrift store.
Oh my god, I would have bought them. I would have bought them just to put them on the shelf. I would never watch them again.
I think you might have.
They're unreal, man. They're like just something very culty about them or whatever, you know what I mean? Like cult classic or something, right?
Yeah, I remember like being a kid and like hearing about them, like just like
Did you ever rented the one that was at El Toro Park there for yourself or what?
I didn't know it was.
You didn't get involved in that?
There. No, but I do. Yeah, on the topic of like fucked up videos. Do you remember Rotten.com?
I sure do. We brought that up a few times along the way here now. Oh yeah, Rotten.com. And the beginning of
that shit ruined a lot of kids, man. Come on, dude.
Ruined my life.
I was never able, like Sam, I remember you being really into Rotten.com.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah. But I like gross stuff. Like I do like gross stuff. I will be the first one to admit that.
And not
so much now.
But man, you would see anything on there.
Oh, gross
kind of weird thing.
And it was almost like a Twitter, like or something. You know, it was like almost like an early version of that, because you could kind of skim through stuff. You didn't have to like leave the thing you're on to get to the next thing, which is I think what attached itself to my dopamine fucking ADHD brain.
Yeah,
it's like I love it. But to be fair, like I'm not grossed out by much.
See what fucked up shit.
Yeah, I'm not as grossed out by things as most people, to be honest.
I just remember reading
real reality.
reading the captions of the photos and then clicking on.
Yeah, well that's the whole thing. You're like, I don't want to do this, but now I have to. And then you click it, and you're like, "Oh my god, I just threw up my mouth a little bit."
Sure, yeah. I mean, is that still a thing?
Rotten? No, I don't think so. It might be like in the hidden depths of the internet somehow or something like that, maybe. But you can't just go to it. Put it that way. There's a mirror of it somewhere.
And like that kind of stuff has been like supplanted by like fucking 8chan or 8chan or whatever.
Yeah, that kind
of
like
all those like
too.
Fucked up like fascist weirdo,
and that shit is
websites.
Like way more crazy than like the shit that we like. I mean, it probably is approaching Faces of Death type stuff, but it isn't as crazy as what that shit was. Well, I mean, like, it was not.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the thing about Faces of Death was that like I'd say 99% of the stuff on Faces of Death was, or at least the snuff parts of Faces of Death was all staged.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it wasn't actual there was like probably like real injuries and like weird gross shit, but
100%
like,
there's gross shit. Yeah,
like the deaths and stuff were all staged.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But that kind of shit was like flavorful in the 90s. Like you could get variations of that stuff.
Well,
like,
that was the
it was just a
Attitude
thing,
Era,
yeah.
baby.
Oh yeah, man.
It was like
Fuck
what like the Howard
Jesus.
Stern era. You know, like what can gross you out? What can
Yeah.
shock you?
Everything was
right
pushed to
now,
the
you know what I
limit,
mean?
man.
Everything was pushed so far.
Yeah, everything got pushed to the limit with that stuff.
And it was
MTV's fault. I totally blame MTV.
We just ate it all up in that 90s.
Loved it, man.
we really fucking did.
Oh yeah, and like to me, like like when I don't know, like when Hunter S. Thompson talks about like the '60s ending, and you watch the wave crest kind of behind you type of thing. This is what he writes about in his last article about the '60s kind of thing, right? It's the same thing with the '90s. We peaked at Bam Margera.
At Viva La Bam,
but you know what I mean? Yeah, like when Bam Margera had 3 shows on television at once, that's when we peaked. The dude was pro skating technically, but not even really, just partying and being a lunatic, and then trying to kill himself fucking 8 days a week,
Jackass
on Jackass and Viva La Bam and whatever else crazy shit that he was trying to do. Like that was peak. That's when it burnt out. Like that was the crest of the wave right there, in my opinion, right? Like because then once that happened, everything else became a shit show. Like he became a shit show. That whole thing became a shit show. And then they tried to build reality stuff around it and bring skateboarding into that reality show stuff. And like, none of it. And then like the stunt thing. And like, it was like, oh, there's a fat chubby guy who does stupid shit half naked. And then there's like everybody started doing the same thing. You know what I mean? Like then there's the crazy guy who does whatever. Vito, yeah.
Don Vito.
There's a Vito. There's a Vito.
Funny.
They're all funny.
Rest in peace, Don Vito.
But they're funny. But they're funny like the first time around. You know what I mean? Like it's not funny like
I know.
When it's like original, when it's like Big Brother, CKY, Jackass, like the original like trilogy iteration.
Yeah, like speed.
It's like this is sick.
Land Speed presents CKY, and they're like
Absolutely.
fucking time bees to strings and like trying not to get stung and laughing and talking about cats and shit like shit and running down the road or whatever.
When it becomes the 5th season of the MTV, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of
like fucking Wild Boys.
We're done.
Yeah, exactly.
We're done.
Pontius and fucking going ballistic. Even then, Steve-O leaves, and then he does his own thing. Like it's just like to every end, right? You can't avoid it.
That said, the last Jackass movie was great. And
that is true. I will.
I do love Jackass.
You
got a couple
Sami Zayn match at WrestleMania a couple years ago was also.
Yeah.
WrestleMania, brother. You want to talk WrestleMania over here?
WrestleMania. When is that?
Brother!
That's coming up here right away.
April 6th and 7th? April 5th
like
and 6th or something?
Look out, because what's happening
like
this time around? Who's returning to the fucking ring this time around? I seen something with Stone
The
Cold
Rock's
on the map.
The Rock is
I
back.
seen that the Rock
baby.
is back. I know that. I seen that.
Stone Cold had a match last year. I think it was last year with Kevin Owens. That was shockingly good.
Kevin Owens, yeah, that was great.
He looks in pretty good shape, man. I see him on Instagram. He's out there farming and shit. He looks in pretty good shape.
Rock is in good shape. He's back.
Rock's on the roids every day of the week. He can tell me he's not.
Oh,
but man,
of
I'm
course.
going to tell you right now, that dude is 52 years old,
Of
fucking looking like a
course.
fucking golden god. Yeah,
Goes out with a question, brother.
Fucking Jesus. Fucking
But we're talking.
I'm not on anything.
We're talking. I think it's Cody Rhodes' year, brother. We're talking beating Roman Reigns, brother.
Is that what's the matches
Finally
here?
finishing his fucking story.
I think he's finishing the story now. We go back. I know you're a deep wrestling fan too.
Hell yeah.
So we're gonna talk a little bit. I think it's Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. They're gonna
Cody Rhodes
finish off the story here.
He's like the gem now, right? Like he's the guy. He's getting
I
put over.
think
He's
so.
going to get put over here now.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
kind of what's going to happen.
he's the
like,
top face.
Realistically, he should have won last year. Like just like storytelling wise,
he should have totally.
Like it really pissed me off. Like as like a writer, as like someone who like writes stories.
I know it was such a piss off.
Like it was like the peak was there. Like the only reason that it like is working now again this year is because The Rock like came in and was going to fuck him over and like because it was supposed to be The Rock versus Roman. And like Cody, was like, "Oh yeah, The Rock, you take it" and stuff. And then everyone was like, "What the fuck?
What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. So so then they were like,
"That's true.
Let's lean into this. Yeah, so
we want Cody. Everyone was like, no, we want Cody.
Well, that's what I thought. Like, I don't follow it all the time, but I follow it along, you know what I mean, enough to kind of grasp what's going on.
So they're like,
that's
okay.
and then nothing happened. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Backpedal a little bit. We're going to get Cody Rhodes back in here on the main event because we fucked up.
That's
everyone's like, we want Cody. He's like, fuck this shit. Like, dude, we just wasted a whole year. A whole year of waiting.
The fact that everyone is still as invested in Cody as they are is like shocking. Like, I expected everyone to be like, because at the end of his run in AEW, like everyone was so sick of him. Like everyone was like, no, fuck this
that's
guy.
how I really remember him, is that part of it, right? Because I started following AEW a little bit, like when it got kind of bigger, like 2 or 3 years ago, whatever kind of thing, like just pre-pandemic, pandemic era kind of thing. Yeah. And then I kind of dropped off because it kind of didn't really.
There's ups and
downs.
It's
okay, but it's cool.
There's ups and downs of wrestling,
and it's like every other thing, but it's like it just kind of fell off. I'm not really interested anymore.
Yeah, they're on an upswing right now. I think
WWE is on the up.
Vince McMahon fucking off is the best thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I don't.
I think that changed the game. Vince McMahon fucking right off and just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a follower.
Who gives
like
a shit?
I don't doubt it one bit.
Right, so he was always in control.
Like
he always
Triple
had his
H.
little hands on everything, right?
That's
so
what
he would,
that's how I took
he would
it.
fuck his shit up, right? Like people, you know, he wouldn't give the people what they wanted.
Yeah, and his ideas were just like so like I feel like Vince McMahon's like the legend of Vince McMahon as like this like genius promoter in the 90s, like who brought like wrestling to its heights and stuff. Kind of gives him more credit than he deserves creatively,
say that
and overlooks like the like really like fucked up way he like destroyed everyone else's careers and stuff, and like destroyed like every other bit of wrestling, like just like monopolized it, and then like, you know, like wrecked so many like of his like own wrestlers' lives, just like making them like do shit they didn't want to do, like cutting corners that like ended up killing Owen Hart and shit like that. He has been a menace a lot longer than people I think are often willing to admit.
I agree with that. He should have dropped off like mid 2000s, early 2000s. It would have been fine. Would have been totally fine.
Yeah, like at the absolute latest. But yeah, like now that he's gone, it's like maybe not smooth sailing, but like and with Kevin Dunn gone as well, like just like from a production standpoint, like it's the way Kevin Dunn like would produce a show, like the cuts and like the
so
camera,
many cuts.
Like so many cuts and like
zoom in.
He would do zooms like on each
weird
like
zoom
strike. He'd like
every zoom in, and I'm getting a seizure by watching this shit. I'm like, man, I can't watch this shit.
Yeah, it's like they wanted it to feel like you're watching like a Michael Bay movie or something instead of a wrestling show.
Yeah, it was too.
And maybe that's why I got disinterested in it, because I found it like story wise, it dropped off. Like, because I really, really tried hard to pay attention to it, like after the Attitude Era, like when like The Rock kind of fell off. And we did movies and whatever, right? Good for him, give her a hammer down.
Yeah.
But I fell off then, and then I was like, okay, I tried it a little bit. Probably 6 to 8 years later, I was like, I'll try to get back into it a bit. Couldn't quite get back into it. Like
sometimes it's hard to jump back.
Because like when the Wiz and stuff was on the go and all that, I was like, I don't like Cena was big. And I'm like, man, I don't even get Cena. Like this is the stupidest character ever. Like none of this is interesting to me. Like
Johnny Cena.
Cena don't do nothing.
Yeah,
for me,
like I stopped
watching.
I stopped watching in like 2004, 2005, probably, like when I like moved away for university, and like I had like so much shit going on, like with school and stuff. And I was like, getting more interested in like, I was like, that was like when I was like first getting into like politics and stuff. So I was like, focusing all my like mental energy on that, and like didn't have the time. And like I did have cable in St. John's, but like. Yeah, it was just never like I never felt compelled to watch it. So like I just stopped.
That's how I felt.
And then like in 2014, WrestleMania 30. I was like,
I think we're gonna say the same thing.
WrestleMania this year. I was like, I'm gonna watch WrestleMania this year. Just like it's coming up. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch WrestleMania this year. And it was the year that like Daniel Bryan won the world title. Like he had to beat like Randy Orton in a match and then win the title from like later in the night or whatever. And I was like, okay, this was sick, but like it never like drew me in enough for me to keep watching. And then like the next year came around, I was like, I'm gonna watch WrestleMania again. And that was like the year that Seth Rollins cashed in the Money in the Bank and
I know that we talked about there.
Yeah. And like I was like, okay, this fucking rules. And like I like got super back into wrestling again after that.
Straight
like,
it, and
I
I'm
got really
back.
into like and like not even just WWE, because like WWE was still kind of like mediocre at that point.
Yeah.
But like I got really into like Ring of Honor and like New Japan and like
New Japan
Lucha
is really
Underground
good.
was on the
And-
go at the
Well,
time.
even their NXT thing at the time was really good
Yeah,
too.
no, NXT, yes, NXT was really good at the time. Like that was like when like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were like doing their shit down there,
when
and
Finn
like
Balor was
Bayley
down there too,
and Sasha Banks were killing it down there. And, like,
yeah. All the kind of before they really broke. They went superstar mode in WWE, but like NXT was sick. And I remember the one WrestleMania, I'm not sure what it was, but it was when Charlotte Flair, they were making the WWE title, the women's title.
The Divas title into the women's title.
Exactly, and they got rid of that bullshit
he had a
Divas thing, which was totally stupid.
The butterfly bell.
Stupid. And it was like, I remember us like texting back and forth on Instagram.
Actual wrestling now instead of fucking
the boys are sick,
2-minute eye candy.
Fucking sick.
So I remember like I never watched that WrestleMania, but I would, like kind of got back into it from there.
Yeah.
So whatever that was, like 20 teens, I don't know what it was.
That feels like 2017 maybe.
Yeah, and then I kind of got back into it from there, and I've like been like right back into it ever since.
Oh, that's sick. See, I kind of get into it for a little bit, and I get right on it, and then I kind of But I always like on my Instagram feed, like I follow a bunch of wrestling shit. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I don't pay attention to it, but I just don't watch it, right? Because now it's a little bit different too, because you kind of got to buy, so like everything else, you got to buy a fucking subscription to watch shit, or you got to pay for an extra thing.
Coming to Netflix in 2025.
It is Netflix, right? That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought I heard that.
So you're going to have it. You're going to have all the brothers,
and then I'll fucking watch the goddamn stuff. Fucking, I'll be hardcore back into it. Right?
Get the young fella into it, right?
Oh man, like he loves everything. He'll be fucking. Somebody beating the shit out of somebody? Yeah. That's the thing. It's funny that you say it, because I said it to the end of the day. I was like, man, it's wonder he haven't talked about wrestling and wanted to watch wrestling yet. And she's like, well, he has mentioned it. I'm just not showing it to him. I'm like, no, don't give it another year or so.
No, give him the wrestling back.
No, man, because it'd be fucking drop kicking me in the head. Like he's already bad enough.
How old is he?
He's 5, like
okay,
mid age 5.
If he sees a Ricochet match, he'll be jumping right on your head.
Man.
You don't even need anything, man. He watched like so him and Hunter, like my stepson Hunter. He plays Dragon Ball Z with him, like, and you know what Dragon Ball Z is like now. It's just fucking people like killing each other, like blowing through walls and mountains and shit. And they're like, he tries to do this shit to me, of course, right? So yeah, this is where it's at, right? Which is fine. I don't care. It's super funny, but
this actually brings me to stories of my basement when I used to wrestle my little brothers.
Oh my god! Don't even be talking about that, oh man.
There was like probably like 10 years ago now. My brother found my mom's old video camera. You guys good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, you just lost his audio or something.
Okay. My brother found my mom's old video camera, and there was
oh my god!
Oh no!
I actually tried to get the tape before I came on here, but I wasn't able to.
Oh
but,
fuck!
We popped it in, and it was the three of us.
What?
My brother Tim, I think maybe. My brother Zach, Scott Cantwell.
Yeah, that sounds exactly correct.
And, I feel like there might have been someone else, and it was like
who knows,
the three of us against like all of these like kids 5 years younger than us, and we had like.
Yeah.
My nan was babysitting at the time, so
you
could hear her upstairs screaming down at us to knock it off. And like, my mom had no idea this stuff was going on, so like we show mom the tape, and she was like, she was like in tears, like, oh my god, how did I not know that?
Oh my god, that's
happening?
hilarious, man. Your poor mother and father with that house, man. Holy cow, holy shit! Like that spot, like the whatever it is, the open room that was next to your room, where you could go in underneath the thing and like all the toys and shit were kind of like underneath underneath the steps or whatever. In that little fucking
under the stairs, right.
In that fucking whatever nook or whatever the fuck you want to call that thing, like the Harry Potter nook.
And like the steps were like my God. So you could like reach out. And
yes, man, it was madness. That place was madness in there, man. I remember like hiding there and waiting for your little brother to come down. I grab his leg and he just tumble down the steps, and we just laugh and walk away like it was no big deal. Like that place was crazy, man.
Couple of DDTs down
couple
there.
DDTs, couple suplexes, man. Pull out all the couch mattresses, DDTs, couple super fucking pile drivers, fucking.
I do remember a couple of smacked heads together and a couple of
beating the lights out.
Yeah, a couple of we make the young ones cry a little bit. We were only like 13 or 12. I don't know how old we were, but
well, like I know, like when me and Skid were hanging out, like first, like we were really young, like. Because like me and you,
like we
first like knew each other from Sunday school. That's how I knew you first or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like I moved to Green Ridge in like I think it was Halloween '94.
Yeah, it was fairly early. Like it was fairly early.
And like we knew each other from Sunday school, and like our dads knew each other from hockey and stuff, and I like played minor hockey and stuff. So that's like when we started hanging out. But like I knew Snow like years before that from like our parents knowing each other, and like we lived in like the middle of town kind of.
Yeah,
some
of my earliest memories since like I've known this guy, right? It's like
funny.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and then like how it kind of like go through your life and then like become friends again and get like, you know what I mean?
Like, I was thinking about that the other day because like thinking about like coming on here. It's like since like I went to the Pentecostal school, like I didn't go to school with either of you guys, but like I moved to like the west end of town to where Sam lives. So like Snow and I like didn't see each other for years, really, except for like on the school bus. And then I remember one day I went to the library. It was like first when I was like learning to make websites, and like I went to the library to like work on my website, and because like I had like an hour of dial-up internet time at home, so like I used that up. I was like, okay,
$400 an hour.
Yeah, and then like afterwards, like I finished up like my hour at the library and like went to the courts to skate, and Snow was there, and I was like, holy shit, you skate too?
Yeah.
Hey,
and that was how we reconnected.
That's funny, man. That's super funny.
It's like like we hadn't seen each other in like years.
That's amazing.
And that was it was wild.
Cheers, brother. Hell yeah, brother.
That's super funny as wicked.
Yeah, so like I've known both of these guys my whole fucking life.
Yeah, it's funny because me and you, like technically like the only reason like we started skating a little bit earlier, like in terms of our age group. I think me and you started because me and you used to hang around Tube all the time, like Matt Noble.
Yeah, and like I remember you had this like old.
That, right?
Yeah, I remember like the first time I remember Tube took me to the courts. I guess I was we were in like you and I were in like grade 6 at the time, probably.
6, yeah, man. Summer grade 6.
Yeah, and like he was like, grab your bike, follow me. Like he didn't tell me where we were going or anything.
Yeah. That sounds exactly right.
I had always been like ambiently like interested in skateboarding and stuff, and like
that's funny, man.
He just like took me there. I was like, holy fuck, how did I not know this place existed? Like my cousin lives right around the corner from here. I'm here all the time, like down in this area all the time. But like I had no idea, and like I forget like who like I remember Screech was there.
So it was like Screech and like I can remember it almost like because it was like a life-changing event to me, man. And then Smitty, remember Smitty? Yeah. You live across the fucking trestle in the fucking weird house Smitty. Across the trestle, and he was the fucking coolest dude.
Jay Smith,
Jay Smith, man.
Smoking tokes under the Pepsi ramp.
Ever, like rode. Yeah, like I think the first time I ever rode a skateboard was Jay Smith's. Like I think it was like an Alien Workshop fucking back to Alien Workshop again fucking like Spectrum logo slick deck like 7 like super skinny like 7.5 inch
7.25 maybe even 7.25
and like I think I ollied on like my second try and I was like holy shit this is fucking sick. And then like I remember Sam you had like it wasn't a Nash board.
No, it wasn't Nash board. That's what it was. I figured it in the end because I didn't think it was either.
Are you sure? Because
yeah, man, I looked it up on the internet.
Had plastic trucks at the time, and your board had metal trucks.
So mine was metal is a.
There were some variations. I think.
It may or may not have been Chinese metal. I'll put it that way. But like, yeah, they look like metal. But I had those trucks for years. But it was a Nash board. But it was a Nash. What did they call it? It's like a Nash Street something or something like that. There was like a name for it or whatever. Because I looked it up years after. I was like, what the fuck was this board even like? This piece of plywood with trucks attached to it because it was like thick, man.
Yeah, like there was like
concave.
no concave.
No, it was like super concave. It was like unbelievably concave.
Oh,
like.
Usually they're flat as a board.
Like that, man. Like literally, like you could stick your foot in the hole. Like so, like when I first learned how to ollie, it had essentially like fucking shingle grip tape on it. So like first when I actually taught myself how to ollie, I'd blow shoes out, man, like a week. Like I was blowing shoes out like every week, going to mom and be like, I need to go to Walmart and get a $20 pair of shoes. And then that's what happened, and that's how it went. And then at one point, I got so pissed off because the deck was so fucking heavy. But I learned how to ollie onto the big box with that stupid piece of plywood. Like this 10-pound piece of plywood. So then I went and bought a fucking blank old deck, and I could ollie like over the big box because it was like half the weight. It was crazy, but yeah, like I had this plank of wood. There it is, the fucking big box.
Hell yeah!
There it is, buddy.
Hell yeah!
The old big box.
But yeah, like that's what I remember. Like that's my earliest memories of like skating. Was like, okay, Tube came over one day. He had this fucking blank green. And then it had Spitfire. I can't remember whatever ATM blank. I'm assuming or something like that.
I remember your black ATM blank. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had a black ATM blank after, and then he had like big wheels. He had big Spitfire wheels because everybody was on a small, right? So fucking
everyone
big pants, small
wheels back then.
Yeah, big pants, small wheels, right?
yeah.
So that was a thing. So he had big wheels, which was different, and then it was a 725, and then he had a pair of Indy 725s to go with it. Or whatever, like 109 or 146s or whatever it is, 145s or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he had those to go with, and that's how he was like, "You should learn how to skate. I want to skate." I was like, "Okay." And I went and I was like, "I have a skateboard." I remember I went and I had an Elf big fucking ass 300-pound fish deck. He was like, "Cool, let's go skating," and that's what I originally started skating with. And because I did it every day for like 2 weeks, Mom and Dad were willing to go to like the fucking place on fucking. High Street there and buy me a skateboard. And I went in, I was like, I want to get an ATM with this and this and that. And Dad was like, no, until you can prove to me that you're going to be doing this, here's this one. I was like,
that spot? What was that spot?
I can't remember what it's called. Play It Against Sports. Bam.
Because you remember when I won the thing?
Yeah.
I was at your house?
Yeah.
I won like a...
Whoa. Yeah.
There was a thing on Cable 9 when and it was a call-in thing, and I don't even know how I was even entered in this
I don't
thing.
even remember. I don't even remember what it was all about. I remember doing it, and I remember you like all of that, but I don't even remember what it was
for. And I remember watching it at your house, and it was like, oh, and they pulled the name, and it was like Ryan Snow, and they called the number or whatever, and...
because it was Dad's buddy who owned it. I can't remember his name.
Well, it was Dan Davis, right? Which is my cousin. So we're not. It wasn't an inside job.
Because he's my cousin.
But they used to have a
so
sports.
Dan Davis is my cousin too.
They had
this
a
is
sports.
How we're actually related.
They had a sports show on Cable 9. Yeah.
Oh yes,
sports.
they did. Holy shit! You're like fucking tugging something out of the back brain here.
Rogers Cable 9. I don't know.
I do know what you're talking about. And like they used to have Tom Walsh on there, I think.
But anyway, they had a gift card or whatever it was. It was to this thing, but it was like. But anyway, I used it for all their skateboarding stuff.
That's
so
what
I bought.
I remember this.
That was the only place you could get like proper skate stuff.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, like either not. If not, you had to order it from Ballistic or whatever.
It was like I bought a Gordon and Smith. It was like a Gordon Smith or something like that, and like a birdhouse or no, what was it? I can't remember.
I can
the
picture
company
it, but
right
I can't
now.
remember what it was.
I can't remember the company right now. But yeah. That was weird. I just remembered that.
Yeah, you just literally like as soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Tugged that right out of my deep brain there.
crazy.
Holy moly!
Yeah,
but that's what I remember was like starting originally, and then I remember we went to school, and then like grade 7-ish, whatever it was. Then I remember seeing you start skating, and then I was like, oh shit! And then we all kind of started hanging together because whatever went on or whatever.
Yeah,
and then,
I think we all gravitated back towards each other.
We're in the neighborhood kind of thing or whatever, you know.
Well, like Sam and I were like hanging out regularly back then.
Yeah, because we hung out with Tube then too, right? That was the thing.
It was yeah. And then like it was the summer before grade 8 that I ran into you, Snow, at the courts. That's how we reconnected. Because like I went to grade 7 at Bercy.
Right. And that's grade 8. You're coming back to LBA.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about the Bercy thing. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Bercy. Yeah. So like me and Tube and like Adam Wells.
Hey, Addy.
Bit of Addy. What do you have,
Addy? It's like.
That's wicked.
Yeah, there was like. It was so weird how like many people skated in like such a small location.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, man. There was the skate park was packed, man. Like the courts were packed at all times.
It's funny.
But did you notice that there was a lot of people at the time? So there was like us who were like skaters. Like even now, like I'm not a skater, but like I kind of am a skater. Like I don't wear skate shoes every day. You know what I mean? I wear skate shoes every day. I'm wearing skate outfit. Like I'm a skater generally.
I still read skateboard magazines. I still
exactly. I watch every clip
and like
But there's a bunch of people that joined
consume a lot of skate media.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm watching
always
all the time. I love it. Still love it. I've always loved it. I've never not as much as I've not skated for long periods of time. I still consume.
Yeah, it's just like a core part of like who we are.
Yeah, I can't not look at it. I love it. I just love it. But like, there's a bunch of people that kind of like. And like in the music world, they'd be like, I guess, like hangers on or whatever, right? Like the groupies, but there's a bunch of people that like kind of got involved.
Posers.
Well, like I don't know, but are they, like I don't want to say posers because a lot of them kind of still enjoy it, but they just never really did anything with it. Like they really enjoyed doing it and understood that they weren't good at it, and then stopped doing it, but still like it, kind of a thing or whatever. You know what I mean? So not really posers, I guess, but there's a bunch of people who got involved in it who were posers for sure.
Yes. And but it was a strange that was around when it became like fashionable. Like it was like '99, like after like the X Games and like Tony Hawk Pro Skater really like
that 900
900
changed the game.
Yeah.
Man. But and like the video game changed the game, of course, obviously too, right?
Yeah. And like it was like okay, like this looks like it looks fun. It's a cool thing to give a shot. But like it's definitely not for everyone.
No,
and like if you and like I always struggle because like everyone would skate in the mornings and I was never a morning person. So like I would show up.
I was
like,
at the skate park 10 o'clock.
Like I would show up at like noon and everyone was like just finishing up. So I would be like skating like by myself for a few hours. Like that's how like dedicated to like skating I was. Like I was like Like I don't care if like my friends aren't here. I'm gonna fucking skate.
It was mad. If I think about it too, like I think about it now. Like now that I don't walk a whole. Well, I do walk a lot, but I don't walk unless but out of purpose. Generally speaking, I do skate and stuff, but I mean not the same way. But we used to skate because I mean essentially it was like 3/4 of the way through town. So what, like 6, 7, 8 kilometers, whatever the deal would have been.
Yeah.
Plus skating on the way. So you do that every day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, sometimes even. You skate to the skate court, skate home, skate back, skate home, skate to the other end of town, come back. You know what I mean? Or whatever, like skate somebody's house or who knows what you'd be doing, right? You think about that. Skating was like, and there was tons of people doing it. It was so much fun. It was so, like the skate courts was like my favorite core memory.
Oh, yeah.
Like what that is like my favorite core memory. Like, and it extends from like, I don't know, when I started skating, like what, 11 to like 15?
Yeah, like 11 to like, And like, even like, it was like, once the day was over, like if we didn't have school the next day, that's where everyone would hang out to like drink.
Oh yeah, man!
Hey, it was just the party was just getting started over at the skate courts, baby.
Like, obviously, I was never a drinker, so I'd be like, still skating while everyone's there to get fucking wasted, and like every drunk, every drunk person there who didn't own a skateboard was like asking to borrow my skateboard.
Yeah, that was a thing. That was a
thing too. Yeah.
Do you have a dart? Can I borrow your skateboard?
Can I borrow your skateboard?
Do you have a dart?
And then do something totally stupid, and then like
yeah, there's a lot of people crack their fucking head open and smash themselves pretty like elbows and shit pretty good. Like I know there was a lot of girls that got sent home crying, kind of thing. Due to the skateboards.
This actually just opened up, like unlocked a core fucking memory in my brain. Do you guys remember there was?
I knew this was gonna happen.
One summer there was like a softball tournament going on.
Yeah,
and they had the beer tent they had the beer tent up in the corner of the courts, and Goober had like blue hair at the time, and there was one softball player guy who was like clearly wasted, and he was like convinced that Goober was wearing a wig.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
I do remember.
Because I do remember at the same point, like getting yelled at because like I went behind the like how the spigot was on the other side. Like you had to go around to the front side, I guess technically, but back side from the courts. And you go around the front, and they were there drinking because that was where the fucking beer tent was right there, right? And of course you scoot around with your skateboard and your fucking size 300 pants, and I remember very vividly going around the corner and fucking somebody's dad was like, "Fucking take off your dad's pants," and I remember very vividly like looking up at him, being like, "Go fuck yourself," and just like continuing to pouring out water, and I'm like 12, like you know what I mean? Like that was, but at the time, like as much as skateboarding was fashionable to us, it wasn't fashionable to anybody else. Because everywhere I skated, I got kicked out of. I got my name taken fucking from the police. Fuck, man. I don't know, 350 times or whatever. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't know if you guys remember, like, people would, like, go to the courts and, like, beat up our
man. The ramps would get them all. You show up one morning and the ramps would be just fucking toothpicks.
That's true.
It was like, what the fuck happened here? Because to me, like, honestly, like, last going off, because I know it happened, like, in my skate career or whatever we're going to say, I know it happened 3 times. And the 3rd time to me was almost like what finished it for me, because it just got beaten up at the beginning of the summer, like even in the spring, and then it got demolished like right at the middle of the summer when it was like hot, like where everybody was skating, everybody was on, you know, learning new shit and whatever, and it got demolished. And essentially, I just started going to Grand Falls for the rest of the year to skate, like hitchhiking and shit to get into Grand Falls, and then I stopped skating almost for a couple of years. Because I was like, until I moved, because when I moved to Halifax and I started skating because they had a really nice skate park. I really liked skating, and it was right next to my school and this and that, whatever. But like I dropped skating from like I don't know whatever year that would have been, like 2000 ish, whatever, 2001 maybe, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then I just dropped it and didn't pick it back up till 2006 kind of thing, right?
I feel like a lot of people dropped off around 2001. Like even like you know like the core skaters like were more interested in just like you know hanging out and drinking or whatever.
Oh yeah, there was there's a heavy piss drunks influence happening too, right? Like there was a heavy piss drunks happening.
I think that influenced us to make maybe skate a little bit more, if from my point of view. But I didn't stop skating until after I moved up here. So after I moved up here, I remember buying a new complete. I bought a new flip Mark Appleyard complete with Tensor trucks, baby, again, because I had Tensor trucks before.
Nice.
And it wasn't probably until like 2006 or 7 I stopped.
Oh yeah.
So until we picked it back up in 17?
Yeah, sure. Something like 2018, 2017, 2018 kind of thing. Whatever it was.
I kept it going for a while, like after like everyone, like after you moved, and like I would skate with like Nick Hines and Shane Welsh and those guys for a while, and then like when I moved to St. John's for school, like I still skated a tiny bit, but there was like no one there that I knew who skated, like besides like Andrew Bartle.
Bartle, holy shit.
And like so like I kind of like just like I still have my skateboard, but like there was a period, like a 1-year gap in my skating when I don't know if you guys remember the Black Label Mike Vallely deck that I had. That
with the elephant.
So that went
or whatever.
No,
what was that?
It was like a skeleton with like a fucking machine gun. It was that.
Yeah,
I had, like,
I do know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I know the board at least. I know which one.
I know
like
you
the
had
deck
Mike Vallely. Board. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so like I think I got that in like 2000 and
because that was after the Think.
2001. Yeah, my first deck was the Think.
Yes,
and then
right.
Then I had the Black Label after that, and like it went in 2001. It went missing. Like I didn't know where the fuck it was, and like I just like couldn't skate because I didn't know where the fuck my skateboard was. Then like a year later, I was at my Nanopop Kennedy's Nanopop Faulkner's house down by the river. And I was like in the backyard. I look over, and under their back deck, it was there, like completely like delaminated, like from being waterlogged, like the bearings were like rusted shut. So like one of my cousins, I assume, fucking stole it, and
oh man,
like
she gone.
Yeah,
which one of you little fuckers took that now?
Yeah, so like I have no idea.
Tell us in the comments.
So there was like a year gap there, and then I got a flip Rowley deck. And
a Rowley
got back into skating.
One of my faves. I love Rowley. He's my favorite. One of my faves. He's top 10.
Yeah. So yeah, so then I like kept skating till like probably 2005, and then kind of fell off. And then 2010, I think it was, I was living like right next to a skate shop. I was like, fuck it, I'm buying a new skateboard. So I went over and like bought a toy machine deck with like fucking, I want to say Fury trucks, like just like which were fucking
just a
heavy
beast,
as hell.
just a
like,
beast.
Super.
Except,
like,
but Muska was a sponsor, so you had to buy the Fury truck.
Muska skated Furies.
I think he did. Yeah, he did.
Towards like later on, I think, wasn't it?
He,
I don't know.
I do remember the ads. I do remember the Fury truck ads with
going from fucking Phantom, like the lightest trucks I've ever could probably like crack them in half if I tried. They were like such like light trucks to like these chunks of iron on the bottom.
Yeah,
of
but
it was a new company. It was a new company at the time too,
Crying
right?
Kings.
So like
Crying Kings used to be the same way.
I think they had more monies and development in the product.
Yeah,
just giving her,
and then like
give her.
Yeah, and then like I was skating one day and like I ollied up onto a ledge and like I guess like what was like 2012 probably. So I was like late 20s at the time, and like I guess late 20s is when you should start doing stretches before you go skating. Because like I ollied onto a fucking ledge and like just like fucked up my lower back super bad. Like soft tissue damage type shit. So like I was like pretty much immobile for like months, and then
just demolished.
Then like yeah, it was like it was fun. And like it wasn't even like a high ledge. It was like, probably like a 1 foot ledge. Like it wasn't high at all.
But it's like the sneeze that'll get you, right? Like it don't take much.
Yeah,
exactly right.
And then,
don't take much.
Like,
sneeze
then,
can
off
take
and
you
on
out.
for like a few years, my back was like, it would feel better, but then it would like, get shitty again and feel better and get shitty again. So like I didn't skate for a few years, and then when I was moving to Hamilton, I had my skateboard with me. It was like the toy machine, and my luggage. Like my partner had driven up and brought a bunch of our stuff, but I had still had like a big bunch of luggage with me that I was bringing, and it was like ever so slightly over the weight limit. And the only thing I could really, so like I had my skateboard like on top of it. I was like, my friend Tucker was with me. I was like, Tucker, take it. And so like so I moved to Hamilton without a skateboard, and I was like really bummed about it. And then when the fucking pandemic hit, a friend of mine was like at her parents' house, and she found her old like I want to say birdhouse or maybe element, like complete. It was like like how like you can buy like completes that are like element deck, whatever trucks, element wheels.
Yeah, about a speed
like
demon.
That kind of, it was
that.
Yeah, like it was that kind of like setup. And she was like, I found this in my parents' basement. Does anyone want it on Instagram? I was like, I will take the trucks and the wheels. That deck is definitely too small for me. And I just like went. Yeah, like I went online and like just like ordered a hockey deck and put that together, and like that's kind of how I got back into skating. And like I often don't have time or energy to skate, but like I try to actually, every now and then find the wherewithal to leave the fucking house and have a push.
Go for push is the best, man. That's my favorite thing. Like I said, like I just like riding around. I'm not about tricks anymore.
It's a good exercise.
I just like going for a rip, man. So like even like I got like I got a big wheeler. Goes fast. So I take the dog out. It's a big pink machine.
I used to work near a skate park that was like always like, it's like Hamilton's like the way Hamilton's laid out. There's like Lower Hamilton, and then there's the mountain, and like the mountain is like kind of like the suburbs. So there's like this skate park that's like right next to a police station. It's like between a police station and a library. So like it didn't get a whole lot of use.
That's a convenient place to put that.
Yeah. So like I would like go skate either depending whether if I was working day shift or night shift. I would like go skate before or after work, and then go to work. And then I got moved to like a different client's place, and haven't really like been keeping it up since. But this summer I'm gonna try to make a conscious effort to skate more. But fucking see.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. But like I just like going for a rip. Like I just take the big wheeler out, man. I take the dog, and I just fucking let him fucking pull me down the road 300 miles an hour. But going for a leak break. But that's pretty much how I skate now for the most part. Like I don't really go skating in the park, and if I do, I take my kid, and we're just out for a rip. You know what I mean? Like we're not really. I'm not out there trying tricks. Like me and Snow fucking we filmed like everything we did the first year that we got back into skating, and then made into a video at the end.
Nice.
So it's pretty funny, but yeah, like it was pretty good, man. Like I will say, like I went out and I bought. Originally I bought a primitive DBZ deck originally.
Okay.
Like, but a complete, like I bought the trucks and everything else. Right. And of course, like now I'm really into it because now I bought, $300 fucking setup going on here. Like a lunatic. But like, I don't know. It's just like, and the thing is too, like I've never really owned the exact complete I wanted. Like until I moved here, like I've never, and I mean, not that I'm rich or anything, I don't mean it for that kind of thing, but like I never had the money to be like, okay, I'm going to buy the thing I want, like the actual thing I want. I'm just going to go in and be like, this is the one I want. So I did that. And I mean, I dropped $350 on this thing or whatever, which is not crazy or nothing, but like, it was the exact thing I want. But I got good enough, like, so I cracked the deck off that same year by board sliding, board sliding a ledge. I was like, holy shit, man. I haven't board slid a ledge since I was like 16. But like, I cracked off this deck doing it, and I was like, holy shit, this is
brutal.
Sick. But I would know it was fine. Like in one way, it was like, shit, I broke off this deck. But in the same way, it was like, holy shit, man, I got good enough over like course of a summer to fucking at 35, 36 years old to fucking be able to board slide a ledge. Like that's pretty sick. That's an accomplishment or whatever. So I felt good about it, but it was interesting getting back into it. It's fun, man. And the new stuff that's out now, like the new collabs. There's tons of fun stuff going on. Like, I mean, I know like the Pokemon, like, it's all commercially kind of crap or whatever, but like, they're doing the fun stuff with Pokemon Santa Cruz and like the DBZ stuff. And like, that's cool to me. Like, that's kind of what it's about. And I like the fact that it's getting bigger. People are kind of disappointed. Like, oh, it's in the Olympics. It's like, man, like, when I skated, man, people beat you up because you skateboard. Like,
and like, there's so many like different, like the thing that like, I appreciate, like, I have no interest in skateboarding in the Olympics. Like, I don't view skateboarding like as a sport.
Whatever.
Even. Like but like, there's that side of skateboarding, but there's also like the super, like, I realized recently that like all of my like favorite skaters ended up being like super sick artists.
Yeah,
so, like,
man. There's all kinds of ways.
Like, Dill's an amazing artist. Jerry Sue is an amazing photographer. Like, Muska is doing like crazy sculpture stuff these days.
Ed Templeton.
Yeah, everybody does fun stuff.
Yeah, like Templeton is like, fucking like an amazing photographer, an amazing illustrator. Like, so many like all the people that like I gravitated towards like when I was younger, like ended up being like sick artists and stuff. So like I like, there's that artistic side of skateboarding too that like, doesn't necessarily coexist with like the super tech like sporty skateboarding, or like sometimes it does, like sometimes there's a lot of crossover, but like like I just like really appreciate the way like like I said before, FA and hockey and like Jerry Sue's company Sci-Fi Fantasy is like doing really cool shit, and like like Quasi and like,
but like even like when Palace was first starting, it was really cool. Like there's tons of cool little guys and stuff like that. I agree.
Like, there's a lot of like really like kind of like smaller like interesting stuff popping up here and there. Like
I agree with that.
Aside from like the super huge like the Olympics and like the Nike SB and like all that stuff.
Yeah, but I think like to me it's like I don't know, and I mean my personal opinion is like it's like there's room for all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Because to me it's like okay for like these smaller companies to exist or even pop up in the beginning is because, or to a certain degree because all of this other stuff is happening. You know what I mean? Like because there's so
many more people interested in skateboarding.
And and I think it's cool that like to a certain degree it's like let's make a bunch of super athletes and see how fucking crazy it can get. To a certain degree, there's a part of me like because to me like I'm one of those fans who's like, man, there should be like a fucking steroid Olympics. Let's get people jacked up as fuck and send them into the whatever. Like make them do push this shit.
Honestly,
because there's people out there willing to do it.
That's
so
the kind of thing that would make me more interested. Like I mean, like
man,
I'm a fucking wrestling fan. Like of course I would be into the steroid Olympics.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Like
that's what would draw me too.
You know what I mean? Like there's room for there's room for everything. Right? Like, but to me for the skateboarding thing, like to me that's what I like about it. Is that like the Olympics thing and like people shat on Houston for years for like dressing like a athlete. It's like, dude, man, that dude is making bajillions of dollars. He's exposing like tons of people who would never look at skateboarding in their life to skateboarding because they like basketball and shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
he's done it all, right?
Store just up the road from my house that has like this massive Monster Energy ad with Nigel Houston on it.
Of course they do.
It's like
fucking. It's a wonder he's not holding up his tattoo or whatever. But you know what I mean? But like, there's room for that in that, like to a certain degree. Like as much as it's a commercial thing and all this other bullshit.
But I think he's due. He's due for that, and I think he deserves that. He's been
a beast.
He's been skateboarding since he's been a little kid with the
he's
long dreads.
Beast,
you know what I mean?
And he rips. Like I'm not even like a huge like. Like I'm like really drawn to like personality and stuff like in a lot of skating, like more than like their like technical ability sometimes. I've always found like Nigel to be like kind of a shithead, but I can't talk shit about him because he fucking rips.
His skating, I think it goes above and beyond a lot of what's going on, but exactly like you said, the style makes up the whole pie of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I like skaters. Is exactly that. It's you know, what's your style?
What's your song? What's the song? What are you wearing? What is what like how is it filmed?
Like what's your deck graphic? What's your what's your general vibe?
You don't have to be sick. You don't have to be fucking Shane O'Neill.
Yeah.
Nobody got to be Shane O'Neill every day. Like that's not what I'm into all the time, right? Like
I like Chris Jocelyn. He's a motherfucking badass too, man.
Yeah, man. Shaq's new part.
Shaq's
new part is nuts. Like, and he's a suit. Like he's Red Bull. He's whatever. But that part is beast, man. That dude is my age, and he is fucking doing crazy shit. Like that dropping off that ledge from the
baby when he fucking started.
Yeah, man. I still got a picture somewhere. Like it's a fucking ad for whatever. Maybe it was even Was it World Industries he was on or Blind or something?
It was Baker.
I can't remember.
Was it a Baker that he was?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember. Whatever. His like OG fucking ad probably or whatever. Anyways, it's a fucking picture of him fucking hitting the fucking ramp up to a sea can and grinding the edge of the sea can. Like that's the picture, and he's like fucking as big as the board. Like it's crazy. Like it's like that's the craziest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life, man. He's a beast, man.
Don't you remember and how much you loved cutting out stuff out of Trans World
talking
magazines
about that.
and
sticking it to your wallet,
on your door, on your
sticking it to your wallet?
I know I did.
Making
I did.
Man, I'll tell you what. When
I think it was Almost that he was on.
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember the ad. Like I do remember the ad, and that's the ad or whatever. But I was like, man, this dude is a beast. Like, and now like he's like 33, 34 years old, and he's still a fucking beast, man.
He went through that MTV Life of Sheckler.
He sure did.
Too,
right?
Yeah.
Because he went off the rails for a long time. I mean, he was in rehab and all kinds of weird shit.
He was a celeb. He was a celeb. He was pretty much a.
But he got caught up in the Bam Margera. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like the next generation of.
At least he didn't go off the rails quite that bad.
No, it just got like
comeback,
too famous, too young, too famous, or whatever, right? Kind of thing. Right?
Good for Bam. I think he's sober for a little
bit.
Man,
he's been skating very well. Very well.
Recently?
Yeah.
So like he had his like comeback a few years ago, but then like last year he was like
off the rails,
left him, and like he just like went off the deep end.
I thought it was
like,
maybe
I'm gonna smoke meth with all these.
Oh no! I thought
he's back from that.
I thought it was back from that. I thought it was like I'm talking like 6 months ish.
Man, I seen a clip of him the other day. He's skating a skate park, and it's new because I mean, I haven't ever seen it before because I do kind of follow him. He's looking pretty good, man.
I thought he was doing.
He talks like a normal person. I'll put it or what as normal as Bam Margera gets. I guess.
People get caught up.
There was no outrageous craziness. Like it was him skating the park, and I was like, holy shit, he just did a straight flip to fucking blunt plant. Like what the fuck, dude's like 300 pounds, and he's just killing it. But he's a beast skater too. Like that's something he gets super overlooked for his skating, man. His part in Birdhouse, man, is fucking so good.
Toy Machine.
Or Toy Machine, I mean, yes. Fucking so good. Like in that fucking underground park there. Like holy fuck, man. Savage.
Oh yeah, that spot in Philly.
The transition, like in all that transition shit or whatever. Like DIY spot or whatever it is. Yeah. It's like, that part is like
what it's called, but I know the spot.
Yeah, that is like one of my favorite clips to watch ever. It's just the sickest, like in the terms of time frame and what he's doing, because a lot of people didn't actually start doing those tricks, like because he kind of fell off like within a couple of years of that because he got involved in the other shit, but people weren't doing those type of tricks till like 5 years later, man. Like it was a whole, like he was on a different because like he was skating with Jason Lee, for instance, like in that era, and then like what he did like before he kind of fell off skating is nuts. Like his parts are crazy.
I don't know if you've seen he was real young when he started skating, and he would like I don't know if you've seen his epically later episode, but like he had like he would have like Phil like filming him like as a kid. Like like I remember there's one clip of him like on this like super high ledge. He's probably like 10 years old. He's like telling Phil to like shoot from like to sit down and shoot upwards so it like looks bigger and shit.
Those are the days,
ripping since he was a little
with
kid.
the JVC camcorder with the Sony Handycam.
Well, I mean, like there's those pictures and videos of him sitting in his living room, like editing CKY. You know what I mean, from Handycam footage or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty savage. Like it was I don't know, man. That was a different time frame. That was a whole different moment in time, man. But it was the first escalation of, to me, as how I feel, it's like the first escalation of the internet. Like it was like, we're into 2000s now, or whatever. Like it's how I felt about it. Like that when that stuff started coming out, it was like, okay, we're like, this is different. Like it felt futuristic or something at the time. Like they were doing it themselves or something. Like had a different vibe to it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Just like the idea that you could like take a camera and like just like, you know, you didn't need to have like a super huge budget to like get a camera and like, you know, you could plug it into your home computer and like do something with it.
Yeah, it was a different thing. And it was kind of like the set off of like, because that's technically still early internet in terms of like publicity. Yes, I mean, the internet's been around since whatever the fuck year, but in terms of actual publicity and like in terms of what was available and like the restriction of it and all these types of, because it is not like the way it is now is not like it was then in any capacity. I mean, you could do whatever you wanted on the internet. People, you could get away with it almost. Like,
oh man,
it was a whole different.
It was the fucking Wild West.
It was the Wild West, man. It was the internet Wild West. I've said that a million times. Exactly that. It was the fucking Wild West. You could make websites about whatever the fuck you wanted,
and and like everything wasn't like consolidated into like you know 2 or 3 social media platforms. There were like you know niche message boards for fucking
message boards
whatever.
Were so
you were like
huge.
Yeah, forums.
Like I was. Like because like I remember I was like posting on like fucking like DJ message boards and stuff and like DeviantArt and like all kinds of like weird shit
into everything under the bloody sun, man. Like on the internet back in the old day. It was funny.
That was
and that's like
I'm gonna cook over a quick break.
like I
he's got a whole small bladder over here.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing.
I'm gonna ask you too a little bit your music videos that you
yeah.
Stuff. So I'm gonna pop
that cute old
pop
dog
that on you here now.
What
was the artist again?
Right, the one I'm working on right now is Fog Lake.
Fog Lake. Okay, and he's from Newfoundland too, right? So
he's from Glovertown.
Yeah.
Fog Lake.
So I'm gonna pop that one right up on here. We're gonna come back.
You started sharing that the other day, right? Like last couple weeks, whatever you want to say. Like,
sorry, say that again.
You started sharing that like the other day, right? The Fog Lake thing?
I went to...
When did I see this? Like, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember seeing this, like, not long ago. It's in my memory anyway.
I posted a photo that I shot of Aaron in October and mentioned it then. I can't remember if I posted it more recently. I went to a Fog Lake show on Monday, actually. He's on tour with a band called Loving right now, and they were in Toronto. But yeah, it's crazy. He's from Glovertown. He went to high school with my friend Sarah.
Are we recording? We're still recording?
Okay. Yeah, keep on going.
He went to high school with my friend Sarah, who was like Buddy What's-His-Name's daughter, and and they like no one in the St. John's music scene like really knew anything about him for like a really long time, but he had like developed this like online following that was massive. Like he's like he gets 1 million monthly listens on Spotify.
That's savage. That's savage.
Yeah,
absolutely
like he
amazing.
Does fucking numbers. So yeah, like he and like super randomly he ended up dating my roommate in like 2014 or somewhere around there, and like he started playing like local like shows with like a lot of like local indie and punk bands and stuff, and like his music is very like he's really influenced by like Alex Chilton and like Elliott Smith and like Neil Young's weirder stuff, and like he like I'd say the majority of his stuff is like super lo-fi, just like him and an electric guitar with like no distortion or anything, just like him and the guitar, and just like really like super good stuff. Like I'm a huge fan of his work. So like we had been wanting to work together for ages, and then I was home in October. I was like, hey Aaron, let's fucking make something while I'm home. So we shot some stuff, and I'm still editing that. That's actually why I bought a new computer recently. I've been like playing around with like lots of like effects and like layering and transparencies and stuff, and like my MacBook from like 2017 was just like incapable of like keeping up with like what I was trying, like in order to like do any, like see any effect that I was like trying to do, I would have to like render out like a 10-second clip, which would take like a half hour to render out. So it's like
I also feel this pain. What you're talking about, that's why I got it. Well, it shit the bed one day when we were trying to do a podcast, but that's why I got a new computer.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I was like, fuck it. I sold one of my old cameras that was thankfully worth a lot of money that I never use, and bought a new computer instead.
Nice. New computer's game changer.
No, it's so sick. A couple years ago, I shot a video for a band called Respire from Toronto. That's like they're this like post-hardcore like they're probably, I don't know how many members, but there's a fucking ton of them, and they like play like super heavy, like, you know, post-hardcore with like, they have a horn section and like,
well, that's
nice. That's sick.
Yeah, they're what's the name of the song? Can't remember what the name of the song that I shot for them
are they
now.
Spotify artists?
I believe they're on Spotify.
What was the name again? Sorry.
Respire, Respire.
Let's see here. Oops, I got an extra E in there somehow. That's see it. Mickey.
Catacombs Part 2. Catacombs Part 2 is the name of the
song. Catacombs Part 2.
Catacombs. Let's see if I can drag this thing up out of the mud here.
So where you did that locally in Hamilton? Or
yeah, my friend Vanessa directed it and I shot it, and so they're based out of Toronto, and Vanessa was like, hey, you know, want to shoot this Respire video with me? So we like, it's a pretty dope video. I'm super proud of it. It's like really like bleak, like walking through the wilderness, like this like dude just like going back to nature and like encountering his like alternate self and shit. It turned out sick. Yeah,
that's cool.
And who's
on YouTube for anyone who wants to?
Whose idea would that be? And it is on YouTube, folks. If you want
to. It was kind of like a collaborative idea with like Vanessa and the band, and I had some input on some of the images as well. So
get a little taste of it there.
Sam,
can you hear any of that on your end, just out of curiosity? I'm playing the tune.
I cannot hear that on my end.
I'm just curious. You can hear it, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are recording
listening to.
I'm just curious how this thing outputs the audio from all this other stuff.
Yeah,
but I do have it playing in the background.
Yeah, I don't hear it over the Facebook call, but.
Okay, I was just curious how it worked. But yeah, no, I'm gonna actually play this here now. Background.
A little ambient background.
It's a good song, actually. This is fucking right on. I can only like hear it a little bit right now, but that's cool.
But it's one of those songs I can hear. Like it's like one of those you can almost visualize, right?
Part 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I got her here. Turn off the Spotify version. Turn on the YouTube version. And then I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. So
you got the video on. You got the video up?
Yeah, I got the video up. That's what I'm doing here now.
Nice.
I'm gonna put a shit over here, and then I'll bring it up on the big screen for everybody at home. There we go. Now we got everybody in. There we are. So everybody is watching your video on the big screen here.
I obviously didn't shoot any of this file footage that.
I understand what you're saying, but
yeah,
it's sick though. Like even just putting stuff together is cool. Like there's something to be said for all that, right?
Yeah,
like,
there is definitely an artistic kind of, you know, you like getting that out. Like I love creating something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
right.
why I always loved like Photoshop and stuff like that, and loved getting into creating photos.
Think about, well, I mean, how many times have you pirated Photoshop 6 or whatever? You know what I mean?
Man,
like, back in the day,
I'm a fucking sucker who actually pays for an Adobe subscription now, and every time I like see that $80 come out of my bank account every month, I'm like, why am I paying for this? Why am I not pirating this?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But like, I'm the same
do
way. I
make
mean,
it hard,
I
though.
pay for all my audio stuff now and whatever, right? Like, but the feeling is that okay, I'm using it. I don't feel like a dick face because I'm stealing it. I don't feel like I'm not a criminal. But no, I know what you mean, though. But that was a smart move on their behalf by switching it all to fucking.
Yeah, and I mean, it is piratable. It's just more annoying to do.
It's super annoying to do it. Yeah, it's not worth your time anymore to be doing it. Even.
Yeah,
it's just easier to put your credit card in or whatever, your debit card in, and let them take your $20.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Well, to be fair, one thing I will say is they did for Logic. They did a subscription based thing for a while, and then they pulled that back, and now you just buy it outright. So like, I'd rather pay the $700. You know what I mean? Like, oh, cool, I'll pay $700. Cool. I don't want to pay every month. Let me own it. Like, let me own it a little bit.
Yeah, that's like that's the kind of like the balance for me. It's like I like Photoshop when you would buy it would like be so fucking expensive. And like I use the entire creative suite. Like I obviously like use Premiere and After Effects for filmmaking stuff, and like I use Audition for like recording sound and stuff. I use Photoshop, I use Lightroom for all my photography. So it's like you know, like if I was to buy those individually, it'd be like, I'd be fucking broke. So more broke than I already am.
Oh, buddy, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean, because I was in the I used to be in the Pro Tools world, right? Same premise, right? You're paying $50-$60 a month because I can't just use the basic version because it doesn't give me enough functionality.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need the like extreme, whatever crazy version or whatever. But like in the middle, it's still $50-$60 a month, which just opens it up to my flexibility that I need or whatever. You pay it every month, and like even like there's months that I only use it a couple times. Now there's months I use it every day, but there's also months go by that I only use it like once maybe. I'm still paying $50, and the only way I can access my cool sessions is, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like that. I'm
watching this video in the background. I haven't seen this video in like 2 years. I'm watching it in the background. I'm like, damn,
it's good, man. It's super sick. Because I'm watching it in the computer versus on the screen. That's why I kind of look like I'm actually staring at you technically in the screen. But no, it's fucking good, man. It's like the same thing. Like when you did send me that video like that you sent in. So with all the footage, right? That was sick too, man.
So these parts you actually did film like this?
Yeah. This guy, like all the stuff with this guy is what I shot.
So is this just like a dude, like an actor dude or whatever?
His name is Jay. He's like a big guy in like the Toronto hardcore scene.
Oh, sick. Right.
Yeah, he used to run a venue called, what was the venue called? I can't remember. It was like a DIY space above it was above like a bike shop, and it was his where he lived, but it was also like had like a half pipe in it, and like they would have shows in the half pipe, and like it was a pretty sick venue. I can't remember what it's called now, but yeah, so like he's a fixture of like Toronto hardcore.
Sick. That's cool then. So that makes a bit more sense. And that kind of ties it all together in that way. So So Vanessa Clow, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, Vanessa Glue. She's from Calgary actually. She's been in a bunch of like really good hardcore bands as well.
Nice.
She's in a band called La Luna, formerly Brain Fever.
La Luna. So that sounds familiar, actually.
If you're like into hardcore at all, highly recommend.
I like it all, man. I like it all. I like everything.
Look at that.
Yeah, trying to throw up some creds here. Just looking down through.
Yeah, there's I get the effect that's coming up here with like the doubling of the guy. I'm super proud of like the fact that I was able to like, okay, I can shoot this and do this and like cut these two things together with him in the same shot. I was like, hell yeah.
It's cool, man. Yes, it is cool.
Definitely, the visuals are really, really cool there.
But like, it looks not to be like, oh, it doesn't look professional, but it looks professional or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh yeah, like somebody just showed it to me.
Yeah,
like, oh shit.
I shot this on the same fucking camera that I'm streaming from right now.
Nice. That's the thing. When you get a good camera, man, it is a fucking tall investment, and it's a good one though. If you can get it to work, it is a good thing. Nice cameras are nice. That's the thing. Like I wish I had a nice camera. That's one thing I do.
And maybe a little shout out to Blair Witch Project there. Like
a little bit, yeah.
A little bit. A little big, a little taste. Actually, no, I see that taste.
It's funny actually when you guys talked about the Blair Witch Project like way back. I was like, Snow, you were bad mouthing. I was like, this motherfucker. It's still one of my
you
favorites.
dickhead. I love that movie, man. I went and seen the newest one in the theater and everything, man. I love that shit. Love it.
Yeah, like I still fucking love. I'm actually. I know I've told you about the Snow because I put you on that Spotify playlist with the like all the new metal and shit. But I'm actually writing a found footage horror movie right now that's like set in like 1999 and is about like finding weird shit on the internet.
Oh yeah,
should film it in Bishop Falls.
A whole lot of
that
rotten.com.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh man. So yeah. I actually before we took that piss break, I wanted to like to like pivot and like talk about weird internet shit. Like I remember you, Sam, talking like in like one of the early episodes of this about like your first experience with the internet.
Oh
like,
fuck me,
at
man.
School or whatever.
One of my first ones at your house, to be fair, when you had the like at the top of the steps when your computer was at the top of the steps
with,
there
with the dial-up, yeah,
with the super dial-up, and you had Duke Nukem on there and all that shit, and that was like,
yeah.
Because I remember, I don't know, I can't remember somewhere along the way, it was like, I don't even know, man. It's so funny, but I just remember like sitting at that computer and like playing Duke Nukem, and fucking like. It's not Googling. It was internet searching. However the fuck, whatever.
Yes, jeez, baby.
Web crawlering, whatever word it was then. I don't know what the word to use anymore because I'm so used to saying Googling.
Yeah.
But like looking shit up on the internet and just like, it was like amazing. I remember throwing in Encarta, man. Do you remember how many hours we used to spend sitting there with Encarta in and just clicking, reading shit and letting it read shit back to us?
That was like before the internet. Like I remember
before
I had
internet.
No internet.
Like, disc set.
Because it came with your computer. When you spend $2,000 on your big giant box of goodies, you get this bunch of shit in it. And Encarta was one of those things, right?
Encarta.
Yeah, like my family, we got our first computer in like '94, like just after we moved to Green Ridge.
You guys were early on. You were the first ambassadors
we were
of the
early.
computer.
Yeah, because I've always been a fucking computer nerd.
Oh yeah, but that's the best.
Yeah, like I remember the first time I ever used the internet was when I went to Bercy. They had like the computer lab and they had computer labs and the library computers were all on the internet. And I had to ask Allison Harnam's sister, Rebecca. I don't know if you remember them.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard those names in a long time.
Deep cut names. Yeah, I had to ask her like, how do I use this? So she showed me web crawler. And the first four things I looked up was a wrestling website, fucking Rage Against the Machine's website.
Yeah, buddy.
I remember like downloading like 30-second like wave clips from the Rage Against the Machine website onto a floppy disk to listen to on my computer at home.
Oh, my son, yeah.
Amazing.
The California Skate Express and CCS website.
CCS, always a top hit.
Top hit. Yeah. In the favorites.
Yeah, and there was one other I don't remember, but like I was like, this is the most incredible thing in the fucking world. And then like probably like wonderful. The year after that, I think my family got dial up, and like we would like use up that hour like as soon as we could. Like me and you at the top of that fucking steps. I remember sometimes it would like it would take like a few tries to get it to connect.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We would be,
and it would just stop working.
And we'd be like doing like good luck dances and shit to try to get
yeah, man, that was the best. Like, there's a lot of good memories, Todd. Your top of your stairs and in that room in your basement.
Tons of good memories in that house, man. Tons.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny early internet things to me about that. Like, there's always a lot of funny internet stuff to me about that.
That was the coming of age.
Then like I remember. We still had dial-up. I remember going to your house, Snow, and you showed me, this was pre-Napster. It was a website that you had that you could find songs on. I don't remember what the website was, but you were like, check this out. And it was like, we like looked up like Beastie Boys songs or something like that. And I was just like, whoa.
This is the best.
Probably like a QuickTime.
It's probably a real player. Actually,
maybe.
No, it was MP3s. I remember vividly it was MP3s.
It's probably a real-time player, but Remember Real Time Play?
Yeah, man.
Remember that?
Beastie Boys. You remember what song? What Beastie Boys track were it?
It would have been like Sabotage or something.
Probably
like
Sabotage.
Something in that era anyway.
Yeah, and like you showed me Winamp. This is fucking sick.
Whips the llama's
and
ass.
then probably a few months later, Napster came around.
Oh, Napster!
That was like the end of it. But like I still had dial-up,
that was the end of it. That ruined my life, man.
Yeah,
fuck, that ruined my life.
Then we got Roadrunner a little after that.
Rogers
Roadrunners.
All
the time it was like
blistering fast speeds, or what you thought was blistering fast speeds,
probably like 35k per second or something.
But you could get a full song in 2 minutes, and that was fast enough for me.
Oh, baby.
It was amazing, right? Because you remember you'd load your Napster thing up or whatever, like it would have been Napster more than likely, but your Napster download queue like to the max, like it'd be like you can only put 100 songs in here, and you'd be like, okay, 100 songs. And you go to bed and you wake up the next morning.
It would download like 3 songs at a time.
Yeah,
maybe.
man. So you just leave it all night. You come back the next morning and it would just be like, or if you were like me, I would like gather all my intel all day long about tunes I wanted to download. And then like based on those tunes, I would download other things that came along. You know what I mean? As you're researching, doing that or whatever. Yeah. And then I'd queue it all up overnight. So it'd be like maxed out. And then I'd wait till the next morning and I'd wake up to like fucking 250 new songs or whatever it would have been. You know what I mean? Whatever you could queue up at a time kind of thing to download. I'd max it out every night before I went to bed. It's fucking the best.
I wish I could still have those same hard drive.
I got mine, man. Every song I've ever downloaded from Napster is on a CD. Now it's on a hard drive. It's probably on this hard drive somewhere. But it exists. Those original low grade MP3s, and you can fucking tell the difference between those MP3s and the new MP3s.
Oh man,
that is not
like
the same.
128k bps like bit rate, but like it sounded like you were listening to it over
just
a
crunchy.
phone.
Yeah, just crunchy. Like, just no bottom end. No. Sounds like a telephone for the most part. Like very crunchy. Same thing. I found a bunch of like old DivX videos one day, and I was like, I'm gonna watch these DivX videos. They look like fucking giant squares.
Those are game changers at the time.
Yeah, it's like unbelievable that like we were watching those on like little like 640 by 480 CRT monitors.
But they looked amazing.
It looked incredible to us at the time. Like
that's the thing. People don't give enough credit, man, to fucking CRTs. There's some magic involved with all that fucking 2B shit and all that crap. Like it looks. There's something to be said for that, man. Like because there's a reason why when you throw on old shit, it looks like shit. People always confuse that. It's like if you put that on in the proper format on the thing it was designed for, it doesn't look like that.
No.
It just,
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's But yeah, man, that shit looks like fucking giant 2-inch pixels now. It's fucked.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
No, I remember and like. Downloading movies back then was wild too because like there were the torrents didn't exist back then, so like you had to go to like Where's websites and like navigate
Where's
like porn,
now you just hit a spot,
like, porn banners and stuff. And
don't click the link.
So many pop-ups.
Make sure you click the right button.
Right download link or whatever, or button or whatever the fuck it was supposed to be or whatever. And then sometimes they'd hide it like in between the banners and weird shit, and you'd have to like find the right spot to click.
Exactly.
Wasn't that a nightmare?
Like, if you didn't know what you were doing, you ended up with like a million fucking viruses.
Oh yeah, it was nuts, man. The old days were the best on the internet. It was the funnest thing. It's the reason I know how to do so much shit. Like people are like, man, like how the fuck do you know how to do all these weird things, man? How could I not? I infected my computer with like 30 viruses a day and had to fix it, like because it wasn't like you could just bring it to people and people could fix it. And it's not like it is now. Like it's a little bit more. People complain about virus, but it's not like it used to be, man. Viruses. I remember like hacking into my cousin's computer, and like I know, like I can see what he's doing, so I'm like fucking with him as he's fucking trying to play games and shit, like because I knew how to do it. Like I figured it out. Like me and him figured it out between us or whatever. So we would like spam each other with weird shit, do weird shit, but you can't do that stuff now. Like it just doesn't work. Like. I mean, you can do it, but like it takes so much more effort. Like it's not even funny. Like I just had a thing that would like you put in a few fucking numbers and click a button, and now you're doing funny stuff to your buddy's computer, kind of thing. Like it's not like that anymore. It was a wild time.
Yeah,
man. I loved it back then. It was so much fun.
Honestly, regret not getting like super into hacking. Like I feel like that.
Yeah,
like it's something I should have gotten into when I was like more like I've read up like a little bit about it and stuff, and like I probably could learn it now if I really wanted to, but like it's one of those things where it's like I don't have the fucking energy right now. But like
it's a whole other thing. That's a whole other language.
Well, like I'm right now. I'm teaching myself in addition to fucking Ableton. I'm teaching myself how to use Unity, the game engine.
Yeah.
Because I have like a couple of game ideas that I want to try to put together, and like there's a plugin for Unity that'll like let you put together like stuff without really having the code. So I'm like kind of using that, but like also like trying to teach myself C#, and it's like trying like I've always been bad at math, so it's like trying to like teach myself a math-based language on top of like it's just like why didn't I do this like when I was young enough to have a brain that could handle it?
Yeah, I'm not smart at me and math don't get along. We're not best friends or any by any stretch. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like, I want to learn how to code. I want to learn how to do things. Like, I'm interested in it enough to really do it. But
and like I have a basis in it. Like I taught myself like HTML and JavaScript when I was like 12.
Yeah,
you know, it was
we were talking about on the last episode how you we used to put like pictures of skateboarding logos on websites and like
oh hell yeah,
a little like
Angel Fire,
a little Angel Fire action, little Geo cities.
Yeah, but Angel Fire was the bomb.
A little
because then we had front page,
a little visitor counter on the bottom. You know, a little visitor counter.
I was a Dreamweaver guy. I was
that's right. Yeah.
Shit you were the first one to get into Flash and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was really into Flash.
Yeah, Flash. Yeah.
That's what I was doing the damp website in actually.
Yeah, I remember that. Because you're trying to do like all the intro stuff, like it used to be almost like intro video-y kind of stuff, and things you can click on within the video or whatever. Like
if you scroll over, then it changes color before you click it and stuff like that.
The way like the damp website was set up, like Nipper had like these like weird photos and stuff. So like you go over each section and it would like change the photo.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah,
and stuff.
Interesting.
Definitely great vision at the time.
Yeah. Like it's very much now. Like if you look at like how those types of software work now, it's like holy shit. I can see where this was what it was trying to do then. Like if you pull up those types of software now and kind of that they would do similar stuff. It's it's crazy, especially now with AI and stuff involved and all this kind of shit. Like it's fucking crazy what you can do with it now. But like you can see what it was trying to do like at the time, but it just took so much more horsepower and effort and to be able to do it the way you really truly wanted to do it. Like that was the one thing. It was kind of like held back by the technology at the time in a way.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I was teaching myself. Like I remember, I think it was Will Morris who told me about Angel Fire. He was like, I assume Goober told him about it because Goober's dad was like the computer guy in Bishop's Falls.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, yeah, Will was like, but I was always like really fascinated by the idea of like having a website, like just like having this like little like piece of media that was like your own in like this space that anyone could access. Like that was always like a really cool concept to me. So like I still have a personal website. Like I still like, social media shit aside, like I still have a personal website. Like, my
That's pretty sick,
photography is on there. Like I have a blog on there. Like I need to update it and like haven't posted on it.
Give a little plug. Can you say the name of the logo?
JonKennedy.net, JonKennedy.net.
Holy Jesus!
Let's go,
that's pretty sick, actually. Good catch on the .net there. Holy,
yeah.
So plug that in.
.com was gone, so I was like, but .net just get better anyway.
It hits,
but like.
.net reminds me of old, like when you'd have to take your Angel Fire account and then you would like get one for free if you sign up for your email or whatever, and you get like a mask and you could like be like Sam Lane dot.
It would like redirect
you, redirection,
domain.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, redirectors.
The tripod days.
So
tripod,
all that crazy shit, man. Holy fuck. But yeah, because like that's what I remember. I remember when you first started learning or whatever you were trying to figure out there was front page, and then you taught me how to use it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of got escalated into Dreamweaver and stuff like that. And like I did kind of use that towards the end, but I did use front page a lot more. That's funny because then like my pop where I started getting it, you started doing it. And everybody kind of had a personal page.
This guy showed me anything that I've ever known on the computer, basically. Yeah.
So funny, man. It's crazy. But it all ties into now, like, so like, I mean, you're involved in like the film stuff. I like to do the audio stuff, like we're doing this podcast kind of thing. It all ties into each other in that way, right? Like our community of interest in similar things, not necessarily identical things, but all these kind of things that give us commonality, right? Like it kind of led to all this weird shit. It's funny, right? Now that we're older, you can look back at you far enough away, you can look back at it. It's funny. It's interesting. But those times on the internet, man, was fucking awesome. Like it's a Napster, game changer. Shit, crazy, man.
Snow, do you remember Fuck It Radio?
Oh, do I ever? Oh, baby.
Yeah, baby.
What do you remember about that?
That was a time to be alive.
Yeah,
I remember. Crazy, I remember you fucking. It was you were using Winamp to stream, right?
Yeah,
Winamp radio
with my Bob Barker mic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
your Bob Marker mic. I specifically remember one time I sent you an MP3 file that was like completely unlabeled and was like, just play this. And you played it, and it was the George Costanza answering machine.
Believe it or not, George is at home.
You lost your mind.
That's why I love it so much. I think I probably shared that on my Instagram within the last 6 months or so, but I've always loved that thing. Yeah,
that's so funny. That was so funny.
I looked at the
and like
internet radio.
Sure I was like handling. I'm pretty sure I was like handling like the website for Fuck It Radio at the time.
Maybe I don't remember a website. I don't even remember a website, to be honest.
Because I remember I became friends with Amber Antle. Back then. Because she had asked like what a font was on the Fuck It Radio website, because she was listening to it somehow, because like you were like playing like the kind of music she was into.
Holy fuck!
Like you were playing like lots of like post-hardcore, like early 2000s, like
a couple Glassjaws,
Coheed, Glassjaw, Chevelle,
and, like,
30 Seconds of Mars.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. So like, I became friends with her because she wanted to know what font you use, and you were like, I asked Jon Kennedy, and all that shit.
That's great. I wish I still had all those like pictures and logos and video, or anything from that era of time, because that was when it was like at the in between stages of when I was still home, because that's when that first started. Yeah. To when I moved up here, I continued it on my own and continued it. Just
doing it by yourself.
Yeah, just kind of over MSN and stuff like that.
Because you did do that after when you moved up here. Didn't you?
People would do the requests
because it was all requests.
People would tune in on like Friday nights or whatever it was like. And
it was a way to fucking kill the evening when there was nothing else going on.
I'd play music and then like cut in like after 4 or 5 minutes when the song's over, like hey it was like a radio station.
It was like a radio show. It was deadly
because you did it and Keith Budgell did it and somebody else. Just like 3 or 4 people that did it or whatever like that.
Well, we learned how to do that together, me and Keith Budgell.
Is that what it was?
Because I remember Keith messaged me on like ICQ and was like, he was like, I'm enlisting you into Project Mayhem. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was like that. He was like, I was like helping him figure out how to use it.
That's so mad. That's so funny, man.
Project Mayhem.
That's OG. It's like everyone OG podcasting, technically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In a way.
Yeah, kind of is the same thing. And
that's how I look at it.
And that's kind of why I'm gravitated towards this and kind of enjoy it so much and just fun. Like, hey, I just come here and just shoot shit.
Like when you started doing this and you were like, oh, saying how like you were like a little apprehensive and stuff, I was like, man, you've done this before.
Oh, that's what I said too, because like the first episode, like you're really nervous on the first episode.
Oh yeah,
we had to stop and go back and do whatever. Like, that's fine. Like that's shit. Like I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
when you're not used to it.
Yeah, that's just how it is, right? And it's a bit different for me. Like I was used to being in studios and like taking takes, and you know what I mean. It's not like I'm just man. It's no big deal. It's just a recording. We can take if you don't like that part, just tell me you don't like that part, and I'll just not have it in there. Like it's simple as that. Right?
I was totally fucked up.
Yeah, and then once you understood then what I was, because then after the first episode, you're like, I get it now. You can just make it. You just edit it kind of together. If we start blabbering and it don't make no sense anymore. We just kind of veer off or whatever, and we just kind of edit it out. And then once you got, you're like, oh shit, I get it now.
Yeah, we kind of figured it a formula after how many episodes? What episode?
I stopped editing after like this would be episode 36.
36.
I stopped editing the episodes, really like truly editing them, like beyond like tails and heads and weird like pee breaks and shit.
Yeah,
like actually editing them after like episode like 5 or 6, 7 kind of thing. It wasn't many into it. I stopped really editing them like because we didn't have to stop and think about what we're doing.
We got a bit of we kind of cut a groove, I guess.
Because that was the thing. I even said the same exact thing. Like, hey, dude, like. You used to do radio station. It's the same thing. It's just that instead of talking about the music that you're playing or, that kind of thing, or like, Bob, send in a request, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, it's not that. You're just like,
it's a different format, but it's,
Yeah, same idea, right? Like, you're just trying to talk and whatever. And like what we do is a little bit, not that one's like different because lots of people do it, but we bring up stuff to talk about and we, and especially now we can kind of like, show it to people, I guess. But back then it was like we could talk about it, but yeah, it was funny. And then look how far you've come now.
Hey.
Just out here,
Look
out here podcasting like
look
crazy.
At us. We're like pod fucking.
It's like it.
The pod fathers over here.
Pod fathers, but it's fun, man. This is like a super like this stuff reminds me of stuff that we did when we were kids. Like that's why I like it. And I'm sure. I mean, it's like anything. If you just pretty much why anybody does most things, you liked it when you were a kid, really, right?
Yeah.
So I like doing this kind of stuff. It's fun, right? Like it all leads together, man. Like it's all this stuff to me ties in together. Like even like ordering fucking catalogs, calling waiting her numbers from your basement.
Like, hell yeah!
Fucking getting mountain bike fucking catalogs.
Oh man,
catalogs,
that was my absolute shit.
Car catalogs
and calling like DC shoes, like literally calling them, and be like, can you send me some posters?
Yeah, they'd send you like their catalog of like all their shoes and stuff, like a big fold out fucking Danny Way poster and shit.
Yeah, it was on real stuff, and it was wicked. I think it's a different time, man. And then you go, and then it would turn into like go on the website and sign up. Yeah. And remember street teams?
Join the
remember
army.
There were street teams for everything?
Armies. Yeah. Everyone had an army.
Army, whatever army. But you get cool shit, right? You sign up and you get like free stickers every month or fucking pamphlets and free whatever. And you know what I mean? You get shit as you were kind of... It's like a newsletter now, I guess, or whatever, but the same idea kind of thing. Or you end up with stickers and catalogs and pamphlets and posters and shit. It's fun, man. It's so
I wish I had just saved more of that stuff from...
Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
a couple CCS mags, or
I wish I still had my old Transworld stack.
Hold that thought.
Oh,
let me
hold the line.
I know I've got it here somewhere.
He busted the MacBook.
But we used to cut them out, and be like, yeah, I want this board.
Oh yeah, buddy. I used to make collages with them and everything, like sticking them on the wall.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like fucking. So I remember like that basement room that I had, like like my basement room or whatever in the house.
Black walls, and
No, that was the thing. It was green. The thing was fucking neon green, man. But there was so many posters on the wall. Oh, you could only see it. So it was black, white, and red, like Chicago for a while.
Yeah, I thought that was black. Right?
And then I had posters all over the walls, like front to back, and that was the skate stuff and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And me and mom wanted me to paint the room. So I remember when we peeled it all off. So like I remember we started at the corner. I literally just cut the tape from the corner, like right into the drywall. Cut the tape right off the wall, and then cut it off at the other end, and right around the top, and right around the bottom, right to the trim, man, over the trim and everything, and just cut it all off, and then we just peeled it off in this giant poster. And like I wish I saved it because it would have been fucking unreal. Like because it was like. Yeah. Because back then, like mags were fucking everything. So like I bought PlayStation magazines, Transworld skateboarding magazines, Thrasher magazines, fucking every other game magazine that was on the go. I fucking bought. If there was like swimsuit magazines, I go about that. Like
you had Sarah Michelle Gellar milk ad up there, didn't you?
Yes, you know you
did.
Yeah. Like you did. Like those teen magazines.
Do you remember
all kinds of stuff, man? Like it was crazy.
Do you remember X Factor magazine?
Yes, man. I was literally just about to say it. Like
I don't know.
I remember you having.
I bought them until I couldn't buy them anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I was like looking that up recently.
I tried to buy some, man. They got expansive.
What was that about?
They got expansive.
It was like UFO and like
just like weird shit. Like because it went on for a lot longer than I realized because I thought it stopped when they stopped carrying it at Shoppers and stuff. But technically, it went on for like another like 4 years after that. So there's tons of books or whatever. But like, so I had probably like the first 15-ish, give or take, of them, because they're like $3 at the group. But they were like really in depth. It wasn't like a tabloid magazine. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. And I'm not saying that everything was true. That's not what I mean. Or whatever, but no, it wasn't that kind of nonsense. Like alien baby found in bassinet or whatever bullshit. You know what I mean? It was like legitimate. Well, fairly legitimate stuff in it or whatever. But yeah, so I've tried to order some of those to actually talk about them on the pod, but that was a big segue into me because it came out like right around the same year that X-Files kind of got onto my radar.
Yeah,
and then like that kind of started to become popular as well too, like that unknown kind of nonsense that went on everywhere, right?
Crazy, like X-Files related side note. I fucking met the guy who played Jeffrey Spender Monday night.
What? No way.
Yeah, so I went to Toronto to have dinner with my friends, and one of my friends, Aaron, is in an acting class that he runs, and it just happened to be the night of their acting class. So, and I was going to that Fog Lake show that was at Lee's Palace, which is like around the corner from where they have their acting class. So like Aaron and I walked together, and as we like got to where they have their acting class, fucking Chris was showing up at the same time, I was like, oh my god, this is Jeffrey fucking Spender. I was just like, I just rewatched the X-Files over the last couple months. I finished rewatching it on Sunday. I was like, I was just watching you menace Scully's baby.
Nice. That's unreal. That's fucking sick.
It was
like X-Files. Like X-Files is like tied for top.
I just
two favorite shows.
I just dropped a link in the chat.
Let's see here now if I can get the chat. Where's my chat gone? Where's my mouse? My mouse fell asleep. I haven't moved it that long. It's the first time I haven't been flicking back and forth through screens in a long time. It's actually kind of nice because I can actually like sit here and talk.
But yeah, like the X-Files was my shit in the 90s. Like that was like I still remember the first time I ever saw the X-Files. Like that was just on TV. You what happened?
Yeah,
there? like I was already into like UFOs and like weird shit. Like as a kid, I would watch like you remember In Search Of, that hosted by Leonard Nimoy?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
So I was like super into that and like Unsolved Mysteries and shit.
Unsolved Mysteries. Oh baby.
Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah, don't get me started on that.
One night I was like visiting my cousin in Gander, and he was like, you should check out the X-Files. You'd fucking love the X-Files. I was like, what's it? I'm like 8 years old. I'm like, he's 9. I'm like, what's the X-Files?
Was that Doug hitting you up?
That was Doug.
Nice.
Was Doug,
okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And he was like, yeah, check out the X-Files. So like a couple weeks later, I was like, okay, I'm gonna check out the X-Files. It was like, this is when I was like, this first season X-Files. It was on Friday nights. And it was the episode that Eve 6 got their band name from.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you mean.
Sweet episode, great episode, like absolute classic. And I was like, just watching it, I was like, what am I watching? This is incredible. I'm like, like, you know, I'm 8 years old watching the X-Files, watching like these two like demonic clone children like try to poison Mulder and Scully and like set shit on fire, and I'm like, this rules.
Like a Children of the Corps type episode or something, you know what I mean? Like fucking
yeah.
It's really good, but yeah, man. Like I remember, like I don't know if it was the first. I can't really remember the first time I seen it, but I feel like it was within the first few episodes even. But the one that really stands out to me that I really remember and it really sucked me in was the Cops episode.
Oh man, that episode. That's
it's a little bit later on, but that really like truly fully sucked me in.
It's so good.
Well, the first time I seen it, because like we used to watch it. Like I remember watching, like I watched it with my parents, like in the living room. They just watch it with me because I liked it, so they watch it with me. So I watched this fucking show, but I remember that one like because I remember it came on and I was like, I wasn't expecting it, so I kind of like because the intro is the Cops intro, like it's not any like you just think it's Cops. Oh, wow. And then all of a sudden, this crazy shit goes on because and it, like so the dude is running through the woods, you know, like same as it always is. Some dudes run through the woods, cam is crazy, people are screaming, whatever, and then something crazy goes on. I won't spoil it for anybody who wants to see it. Yeah. But something crazy goes on.
They like run into Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, and then they're there, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?" And then I was like, "What am I watching?" Even like, and then I was very confused. Like, I remember being confused by it. Like, what the fuck am I actually
crossover
watching?
Show? Here?
Yeah, I was like, "What are they filming?" And they're like, I couldn't. And then I was like, "Oh, now I get it." But that sucked me right in. For some reason, there was something about that was like, "Oh, I get it now." And then it was like, I was because I was already interested in that kind of shit to a certain degree already. There was
like I remember you and I were like pretty into.
Oh, I
like,
still
I don't know
am.
if you were as into it as I was, but like I would watch anything that had to do with UFOs.
Oh, 100%, man. And then like the immediate second I got money, I collected every VHS and DVD of every fucking known like any conspiracy theory that was semi-popular. I collected the documentary on that. I love the shit out of that stuff, man. Like it was so fun. But that's the kind of stuff that got me into it. And it became really popular for some reason. And I don't know if it was totally based on the X-Files thing or whatever, but it became super popular.
There was a lot of like, there was like a whole like kind of like mix of like cultural stuff. Because there was like it was like 97 was the 50-year anniversary of the Roswell crash.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So that was a big part of it. But like even leading up to it, like there was a lot of like, I was reading a book the other day, just like kind of like because I said I wanted to talk about like 90s conspiracy culture and stuff. If I came on, I was reading. There's this writer that I really like, Jodie Dean, and she like it's funny. She like writes like she's mainly like a Marxist like political writer, but in like the 90s. She wrote a book about conspiracy culture, and weirdly enough, it came out on my like 12th birthday or something like that. like I was reading it and like apparently like she was saying like it really kind of like ramped up like because like originally there was like in the early like Cold War like 47 like Roswell and like up through like the 50s and 60s there was like a lot of UFO stuff going on and then like it kind of like died off for a while and then really like made a cultural comeback in like the late 80s. And like I guess that was like you know the early conspiracy stuff kind of like lined up with like a lot of like Cold War paranoia and like fear of communism and stuff. And then like by the end of like the late 80s, like you know the Soviet Union was like collapsing and stuff, and so it like wasn't like there was like it like they weren't perceived as like as much of a threat, so like there wasn't as much like kind of because one of the really interesting things about like UFO phenomena like reporting and stuff is there's a really great book called Mirage Man. There's a documentary based on it as well. Mirage Man.
Yeah. I've heard it. I've never read it or seen it or anything, but I know what you're talking about.
It's really good, but like what it gets into is the way like the U.S. government like it's like it contradicts a lot of like the conspiracy ideas around like UFO sightings and like cover-ups and stuff. But like it like almost feels like a conspiracy theory itself. Like
I know what you mean. I get what you mean.
Like but like it's like the rise in like conspiracy like UFO like disclosure and stuff always comes around the same time as like there's other stuff going on.
There's some kind of upheaval
like,
or
the U.S.
whatever.
government is like trying to distract from.
You
know, like in like the towards the end of like the Trump presidency, there was like all those disclosures and stuff that started coming out. And I was like, because and it's like, oh yeah, of course it's like lines up with like you know Trump like going like even more off the rails than he already was or whatever, and like you know that kind of thing. But like the late 80s kind of like built up like more and more because like the Soviet Union collapsed and like the world was kind of like in like this like upheaval of like you know we have this like one superpower now. It's like what's going on in the world, like everything like seems so like strange because like this like dynamic that existed for like you know 50 years.
There's no real technical threat or there's no perceived threat or whatever we want to put it in reality or whatever.
So like you know then that it like kind of like I feel like it built like from that and became like what people focused on. Like you know the X-Files was talking about like you know government conspiracies that like it often hit on like real like actual government conspiracies like MK Ultra or, like,
especially in the first 4 or 5 seasons 100%. Like a lot of that stuff is pretty spot on or whatever you want to put it.
The first time I ever heard of Operation Paperclip, which like I don't know how familiar you guys are with like that kind of thing, but it's
I know
after like anyone listening who doesn't know what Operation Paperclip is,
hit me with a little.
I know what you're talking about. My son.
Can you hit me with a little Operation Paperclip?
After World War II,
I loves it.
The United States, NATO, and like all those allies gave high-ranking Nazi officials high-ranking positions in like NATO, NASA.
That's how the boys got to the moon.
That's right. That's dirty dogs.
Yeah,
that's how they got to the moon.
That for Victor like a long time. Yeah, like that stuff for a long time was like, oh, it's just conspiracy theory. But like, it turned out
that's true. That happened.
That ended up being true. That ended up being like actually true.
Yeah.
And so like, obviously like people are like correct to like assume like, the government's doing some fucked up shit.
And you know they are. Right? Like, you know they are.
Yeah. So like, I posted a thing. I know you saw it, Snow, from Naomi Klein talking about her new book, and she was talking about how like because her new book is all about conspiracy theory and stuff in like the contemporary political situation, and like she was talking about how like conspiracy theory kind of has like it feels correct. It's like getting at real feelings, and then just like
I see what
just like goes off the rails when it comes to like the actual facts of it.
Is wrong. Yes. The feeling is there, but the facts are not there.
Yeah, sounds real good.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds real good.
Yeah, exactly. So like, there like that's always been like kind of like an ambient, like especially when you have no real like visible threat. It's like, oh well, the government's the threat.
Yeah.
And then like 9/11 happened, and like conspiracy theory just like went through the fucking, that's actually kind of like what killed my like fascination with conspiracy theory, because like I was always like I would like I was never super like susceptible to like believing like a lot of conspiracy theory, but like I was like super interested in it. But then like the 9/11 conspiracy theories came along, and it was like I at that point already had like kind of gotten into like reading about like US imperialism and like global politics and stuff. And so like they like people were like drawing these like really like bonkers conclusions about like I remember coming home on 9/11, like we had like a half day at school that day.
Yeah, we got sent home, man. It was like a thing. That's a fucking thing.
We got sent home not because of 9/11, but because there was a heat wave and the air exchanger in the school was fucked up. And I remember getting home, and my brother Tim greeted me. He was like, "They flew a plane into the White House," and my dad was like, "No, they didn't fly a plane into the White House. It was the World Trade Center and the Pentagon." But like, I was like, I immediately was like, "Oh, it was probably like a Osama bin Laden, like that." Like I was already like educated enough in like the geopolitics of like what the U.S. was doing in the Middle East that like I had a sense of like what was happening, even though it was like this like crazy thing that was happening. And then like so like I was already like kind of educated in like the politics of it, and like I would watch like people on the internet like draw these like really absurd conclusions about like how super like racist ideas about how like Arabs could never like figure out how to fly a plane.
It was mental, man. I'm good. So this is one of my this is like my favorite. Not, I wasn't my favorite, but this, like 9/11 is one of my favorite subjects to talk about because there's 1,000 angles on it and whatever else. Because to me, in my personal opinion, it's like one of the biggest game changers in every aspect. Like not just my like travel sucks now.
A lot.
It's like the first modern.
It just changed things. It's like a war. Like so, say if you were born pre-war and then you were 14 or whatever when it goes on.
Yeah,
this is. I feel like it's similar feeling. I mean, I didn't get drafted when I was 18, and I don't have that portion of it, or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there was a certain amount of like
it shifted.
Holy
like,
fuck,
the way
about this.
Everyone.
It made the danger closer, or that's how that's how I felt about it. I mean, I don't know how anybody else necessarily felt about it. But that's how I felt about it. It was like, but then like immediately, so like I remember a similar thing. Like we got sent home, but I remember the teachers as I'm leaving, we were talking to the teachers like, yeah, man, somebody flew the plane, like details, and I wasn't up on it. I mean, I wasn't into it that much, but at the same time in my mind, I'm like, that's really strange. That's a really strange thing to happen. Whoever had anything to do with it, it doesn't. It was just like that's a weird thing to have happened. And then when I got home, and then I get home and I see a second, plane crash happen. Like as I'm watching the feed, it's like holy shit! Like this is really close. Like and then the idea, like really Newfoundland and New York aren't that far apart. In terms of like flight time, if you will, or whatever, you know what I mean, and then all that stuff.
Like so many planes like landed in Gander and stuff, and I was like, we had like kind of like a more direct connection to a lot of it than a lot of people
His attachment, like there was some kind of thing like, oh, this is kind of happening in my backyard, even though like I mean, obviously nobody that I know died or whatever kind of thing, but it just felt like it was in my own backyard. Like I remember when it happened, like my parents got a bunch of shit together and like dad drove some shit out to Gander to make sure people had blankets and shit and clothes and toothbrushes and shit, whatever they could do. And there was people going around the neighborhood doing that kind of stuff. Like it was just different. And then like, of course, like the repercussions of all that afterwards. And then like the conspiracy theory of it all. And I mean like,
and it makes total sense that like conspiracy theories would come out of such like an intense.
It's a traumatic event in reality, right? Like,
exactly,
and a global traumatic event, which is a thing. And then there's so much more behind it than just. It's not as simple because it's not as simple as war is. I don't mean it for that, but like it's not a simple act as war where some dude shows up on your doorstep and starts shooting, and you have no choice but to shoot back. It's a weird type of way to come at you.
Yeah.
These types of things, right? Like it's a plane falling from the sky, like the sky is falling or something. You know what I mean? It's the whole lot of it was very weird to me, and it just put like this edge. And then when it was all like that segment was over, and then of course now you got like, okay, what do we do next?
Yeah.
So of course, like my thought is like, okay, we're just going over there, just we're gonna fucking glass that place over. Like I know that. I'm 14, and I can tell you right now, there's gonna be very little anything left over there. Because they're just going to go over and wipe it out. Whether in the right place, wrong place, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like politics aside, they're just going over there. Like, hoorah, let's do this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and like it was something that they had wanted to do for years anyway, and like had been doing. Like,
there's a lot
on
of
a smaller scale, but they were
moving
like,
pieces to it,
and
right?
like that's where like some of the conspiracy theory comes in. It's like
exactly.
Like there's the made it happen on purpose theory and the let it happen on purpose theory.
Exactly.
It's like,
they
either.
Right.
So like,
or did like, the whole it did it on purpose thing gains way or not traction, but like in the world it gains way more traction, right? Like more people are into that idea than let it happen. Even,
and like which is like I personally think that like the made it happen on purpose thing is like just batshit, but like I'm very sympathetic to the let it happen on purpose thing. Like I can absolutely believe that they would have gotten the intelligence report that they did get.
Something happened.
We don't care about that.
They knew it was going to happen. Yeah,
something happened there.
They just said,
so
okay,
like
let's just see what happens.
like whether it was like incompetence or like intentional.
I think it was an opportunistic thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. And like that's you can see where that would like
lead to
people
everything.
Think like, oh shit, they're like like they have they have done shit like that before too. Like they the Gulf of Tonkin attack that justified going into Vietnam was.
Oh, there's lots of false flag stuff, and that turned, same idea was a conspiracy theory, and then 30, 40 years later turned out it is not a conspiracy theory in any way.
And then like. Yeah, and then like after 9/11, all the like weapons of mass destruction in Iraq stuff.
Yeah.
That was turned like I at the time knew, like was familiar enough with like everything that was going on. That was like, okay, if there are weapons of mass destruction, you sold it to them in the 80s. But
it's your stuff.
Yeah, but
or
like,
it's
they
some
didn't have
Soviet
that stuff.
crap or whatever.
Already. Yeah, so like it's easy to see how like the conspiracy theories would come up around that stuff.
And I love it too. Like I'm buying in. I love that shit. Hit me with it. You know what I mean? Like, I know I don't always buy them, but I love hearing it. I love hearing people's crazy idea. Right.
That stuff kind of like killed my interest in conspiracy theory on that level for a while. And then like it came back like
Fahrenheit
all
like, 9/11
the QAnon stuff
and on that too. I found like I was really into Fahrenheit 9/11 for a little bit, and then one day I watched.
Yeah, I mean Fahrenheit 9/11 is a good documentary. I remember.
I think I watched it too many times, maybe or something. And I was like, I just can't listen to this stuff anymore, and I kind of ran away from that theory. But I'm very interested. Like I even wrote a thing on Substack about it. Like, I'm very interested. There's something very.
And I mean, that's the stuff that led me to like study political science in university and stuff. That's like that was.
I love Fahrenheit 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I do like it.
He was like my earliest interest into.
Only for Columbine is my favorite.
Looking into a different angle of things, right? Like,
but it's exposure to something different than your angle, right? Because what's the other one where he falls around? Is it Bernie Sanders or somebody? It's like his first one. It's like from the 80s, maybe.
Oh no, that's
what am I trying to say here?
Fuck, what's it called?
You know what I'm talking about, though. It's he's following somebody on the campaign. Like Hello Bernie.
That one I'm not.
It's like Hello Bernie or something like that. It's like his first one. I can't remember what it is, but it's really good.
The first one I remember from him is the one where he's trying to track down, I think, the CEO of General Motors.
Yeah, maybe? I know what you're talking about there. I can't remember what the name of that one is, but I know what you're talking about. But the first one that I seen was
right now. It's been so long since I've watched.
Michael Moore is a deep cut now. But his original one, it's like Hello Jerry or something like that. I can't remember what it is, but it's like, anyways, he follows around like Bernie Sanders or somebody like that. Anyway, it's on his campaign trail. It's actually really good, but it's kind of like guerrilla in a way. But it's like that was the first thing I ever seen from Michael Moore, and then I really like Columbine. Like I really like Bowling for Columbine. I love that documentary. I don't know why.
Yeah, that one was good. That was the first one of his that I saw.
That shit fucked me up.
It fucked up loud. Well, and I believe
no, it did at the time.
Well, that's another thing that's kind of like a thing too. Like that's another conspiracy theory on its own. Like the school shooter phenomenon. Like what is that? And why is that happening?
What are we doing?
Is it some kind of weird psyop that the government is doing? Is it the fucking weird antidepressants and SSRIs that people are on? Is it the fucking? Yeah. I mean, I can get into all angles of this or whatever, but like, you know what I mean? Like, that's another thing. Like, there's so many things, but like 9/11 to me is to me the ultimate conspiracy theory because like there's some days I wake up and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, man, they knew exactly what was happening there. They did that shit. Like they flew that shit in there. That was one of their dudes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever way you want to look at it. Whatever conspiracy I heard 2 days before.
They knew it was planned and they just let.
But then the next week
slide.
I'm like, no, man, they had all that intelligence. Why would they let that happen? They just wanted it to happen because that's an excuse to do the thing they want to do anyway. And then it's hard. There's a lot of angles on that.
Yeah, that's the angle I'm most sympathetic to. Are either of you guys familiar with the podcast TrueAnon?
TrueAnon? No, I think I do a very similar one though. But I can't remember what it's called. Like, hit me. I've heard of TrueAnon before. I've definitely heard of this before.
TrueAnon is one of my favorites. It's super well researched and like they go deep, but it's also like super entertaining.
I did a Y-Files.
There are a handful of
hits me with some cool shit because it mixes up some ancient weird shit with some new weird shit, which is kind of like that.
There are a handful of like really like TrueAnon kind of focuses on like contemporary political conspiracy theories.
I like it.
There's like it started kind of like as a podcast about like the Epstein stuff.
Oh yeah.
But then like they get into like a lot of like really like they've done a lot of really interesting stuff. But there's another one called QAnon Anonymous that I really like, and like they obviously based on the name alone they do a lot of like QAnon based stuff, but they every now and then they'll like do deep dives into like weird UFO cults and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Super interesting.
I'm gonna have to get into these.
I like that shit. I listen to a lot of weird podcasty stuff. Like, I like that shit.
Yeah, there's one they talk about like the ascended masters and stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with that stuff.
Yeah, I know you.
And like they go deep on that stuff too, and like how it like connects to like
way too deep into conspiracy. Like for some reason, like, and not that I haven't been interested in any way. Like I mean, I've always been interested in some way, shape, or form. But like a few years ago, I got so fucking. I just went right like smoking too much weed, going down the hole. Like I just can't stop myself. I love it. Right, like getting right crazy, especially like pandemic era craziness. Like loving it.
Yeah,
hit me with every conspiracy theory that there is. I love them.
I definitely come down on like the skeptic side 99% of the time, but like
it's 90% is not
super like I still like find like that stuff super fascinating, and like the where was I going with that? Back in like I remember the rise of like the conspiracy culture in the 90s. Like there was so much representation. Like there was like the X-Files, but like even within the X-Files there was like the lone gunman, and then like King of the Hill, you had Dale like representing like that it was quintessential like conspiracy theory,
the guy that lives down the road from you kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like that guy.
Exactly.
But it was everywhere, man. Like, it was just everywhere for some reason.
And like back then I would like spend way too much time, like I would like I've never like been like I've always been like a night person. Like I would stay up super late just like doing the stupidest shit, and I would like spend like all my time on like conspiracy.about.com and like go like so all these like
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's so wicked.
Oh man, that about.com was the best fucking website in the world back then. It was like a proto Wikipedia kind of thing, and like
that's funny. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's wicked.
Yeah, that website fucking ruled. But like it was like so interesting like to see like all of these like weird fucking people just like have the ability to like express the weirdest fucking ideas that they had,
But that's what I like about it, right? Like I don't really care if it's true or not, even. You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain portion of it, like I don't really care that it's true.
Give me something to think about.
Yeah,
well,
really.
It's like
that's
we were
really
talking about earlier, like about like
think about it.
like I like the stuff I write is like weird and surreal and creepy and stuff, and like I would kill to have the fucking imagination that some of these people have. Like like it would be sweet to like come up with some of these like absolutely batshit ideas.
Oh yeah, and some of it is just wicked crazy, and that's the part. And that's the part I almost like. It's like crazy people, like not crazy people, but like strange people. Shit, I'm drawn to strange people, like strange stories. I like strange ideas. I love that shit. Like it's best. It's the best.
Do you remember? It was a website that I want to say like Time Cube or something like that. And it was just like just a wall of text, and it was just like the most batshit like rambling stuff in the world. And
it's like like a man. I don't know. I think I know what you're talking about because didn't it when. Isn't it like every so often like it would like change what it was all about? Like it would be like a different scratch on the wall, if you will, or whatever. Like it would change to something different, but it would be the same idea. Like it would just be like a whole nonsense ramble.
What were we trying to do with it?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't really know. But that's another thing. There's a bunch of weird stuff like that back in the early days too.
I pulled up the Wikipedia article about it. The TimeCube website did not have a homepage as such. A large amount of self-invented jargon is used throughout, often never defined. In one paragraph, he claimed that his own wisdom so antiquates known knowledge that a psychiatrist examining his behavior diagnosed him with schizophrenia.
Oh, okay, so it is technically 100% just ramblings, basically.
Yeah. But like he was like
in whatever kind of psychosis mode he was in, or whatever.
Yeah, like he had like this, like it was like a model of reality that this guy had developed, and like.
That's savage, actually.
It's it's worth pulling up like the Wikipedia article and just reading it and just like.
But there was there was a bunch of weird shit like that in like back in the old days. Got a break. But there was a bunch of weird shit like that too back in the old days of the internet, like these Easter eggy website type things. You know what I mean? Like almost like the way I look at it, the way I kind of describe it to people that don't really understand what I mean is like when you had interactive CDs. And you'd have to like click. Almost like Myth. Like when you were playing Myth, you had to find the things within the picture or whatever. There was like a lot of kind of shit going on. Like
hyperlinking. That was like the basis of the internet.
Yeah, there was like a lot of that kind of stuff. So it'd be like, okay, you got to go to this website, and then if you do whatever, click the thing and look at the thing and dig, and then you'd bring it to another page because you did it in the sequence or whatever, and then next
exactly.
And then it would be like linked to a geotag maybe or something or something. Who knows? Right? There was all kinds of weird stuff in the beginning and all that stuff.
Yeah, I still. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, even like with my own website, like I have like little links hidden here and there.
That's
to, like,
sick,
different like whatever. Like if you like. On like the homepage of my website, if you like click my name, it'll like take you to like an article about like the revolutionary potential of surrealism or whatever.
But that's cool. See it like that's the kind of stuff that I think a lot of stuff is missing.
Yeah, just like
about now. Like there's no fun stuff on the internet. It's all very. I mean, it's basically on two people's websites in reality, but. Like there's a lot of that kind of.
It's just consolidated into like there's like absolutely like no personality to the website or to the internet at all anymore. It's just like,
and I think that's why some of that stuff has stopped running rampant. Like these kind of like stuff that we kind of like legends that we kind of believed in versus like facts, I guess, or whatever, right?
Yeah, and like even like just using Google now is like I can't remember what I was looking up earlier today, and I was looking up how to make a bootable Windows thumb drive.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
And yeah, like I mean I've done it a million times, but I just haven't done it in like
I had to do the same thing that long ago.
I haven't really used Windows in like a decade, but the family that I work with wanted me to like wipe the kid's laptop and like reinstall everything. Again. So I was like looking up how to do it, and like every fucking link that it gave me was this like AI generated page from like a week ago. It's like, why is a website that was posted in like March 2024 telling me how to reinstall fucking Windows 10?
Yeah, it's like, mad, isn't it? It's crazy, man. The internet is like, so crazy now. Like, it's getting like crazier.
There's actually QAnon Anonymous. No, was it QAnon Anonymous? No, I think it was. It might have been TrueAnon, it might have been QAnon Anonymous, it might have been both because they both cover a lot of different stuff. But like they were talking about like how like basically the entire internet is like rotting from the inside because of like
I've read exactly. I don't know the same article now, but the same premise at least.
Yeah. Like there's like a lot of like
there's so much
like
AI
just like generated
like
content that like is designed just to bring in clicks to generate click revenue regardless of like the quality of the content. So like, if you want it, like Google is useless as a search engine now. Like I don't even use it anymore to search things 99% of the time. And like the alternatives are not great either. Like I use DuckDuckGo most of the time, and that fucking sucks. And like, I know a lot of people have started using Bing.
That's really funny.
Bing fucking sucks.
Well, Bing is like, I mean, they tied it into the AI as a whole other thing now. Like it's just giving you, it's feeding you shit, right? Just feeding you shit.
Yeah. So like the internet has just like, and like that contributes to like the rise of like, it's harder to find good sources on things. So it's like, that contributes to like disinformation and misinformation and conspiracy theories and stuff. So it's like this like weird fucking feedback loop, and
we just lost
lost
your video there for a second. I can still hear you perfectly fine, but your video just disappeared.
I think for some reason my camera is not charging from the USB, so I got to put a new battery in it. Just give me a second here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like mine. I always try to get in the room here. If we have the door closed, it's a problem. But if the door's open, they just kind of free roam in and out. It's fine. But
doggy dog.
All right. It's a doggy dog world.
It is. But yeah, I got a question for you now. What is your favorite conspiracy, true or false conspiracy? What is the funnest one? Like just the funnest one.
Good. That is a good fucking question.
Hit me with one.
I'm honestly, I'm just like an alien guy to my core. Like,
yeah, man.
Like, that's just like, you know, that's the stuff that like really gets me going. And I'm just like,
so what's your favorite? Like, what's your favorite one of all that? Like, so based upon the recent events, because I'm positive that you watched part of that disclosure event and all that. Because I watched David Grush's fucking full testimony, fucking twice from two different angles.
The recent stuff. The recent stuff.
Yeah, like from like last year.
What's up with that? Come on, hit me.
So I want to know. I'm curious. I love hearing people's UFO stuff. It's best.
Honestly, I haven't like watched much of like the recent stuff. Just legitimately out of like
Gresh is nuts, man.
A lack of like time and wherewithal. Like I've seen bits and pieces.
Gresh is nuts.
Yeah, like I like that stuff for me ties into like the Mirage Men thing of like you know, it's been like it's like a psyop by the government to like
I think it's backwards. Yeah, I think it's the other way.
Distraction.
I think his thing like so there's Reeves and there's him.
Okay.
I think Reeves is onto something because he's like a credentialed. You can look up his credentialed.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, it popped up. Yeah. This website popped up yesterday, or you know, bullshit. Like, this dude, like, legitimately was like, "Fuck you! Like, this is crazy. Right. How come you're not talking about this?" Like, his thing is real. I feel, or at least I feel that way. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the guy personally or anything like that, but his story feels real because he's like, dude, I'm a fucking trained fighter pilot for, like, and I'm an expert. Like, I'm not Joe Blow.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an expert in all things flight. I'm telling you that when we got new technology, we suddenly started detecting these things, and then because we started detecting them, they started like showing up in front of us. Like not just like, oh, I'm gonna like be super fast or invisible bullshit. Like, I'm gonna come over and look at you, and you're gonna look at me, and you're gonna know when I'm here. Like, because like that's what he's saying. He's like, literally, man, you can if they would release the footage. There's video from my cockpit where this fucking ball thing is 20 feet away from me, just fucking there, like it's just there, like keeping up with me and has no problem blowing me away and then coming right back and meeting me into places I'm gonna be and weird shit like that. But then the Gresh
I think
stuff
that stuff
Gresh stuff's a bit
actually
weird, right?
That makes me think of this kind of ties into what I think is probably my favorite kind of like conspiracy theory, like weird shit thing. You guys remember the movie, The Mothman Prophecies?
Baby, yes.
Banger of a movie. Fucking
banger.
Super banger. Yeah.
Have you have either of you read the book?
I read part. I haven't got the whole way through it, but I definitely have. Because when the movie came, I was like, I should read this book.
So yeah, like
I definitely have read most. I haven't read it all, but I read most.
Dummy.
Yeah, like the movie is based on like the last part of the book, but like the entire book is just like a collection of like John Keel was a reporter, so he was just like traveling through the United States collecting these like testimonies of people.
Like I know the Mothman prophecy stuff. Like I know a lot about that.
Yeah, so he's like collecting like these testimonies of like, you know, people who've experienced weird shit like throughout the States. And his theory is that all of like that kind of stuff is intradimensional beings. Like
I can see that. I see what you're saying.
And I like if I want to like let my mind, like my skeptical mind, just like go away and like take that full like leap off the deep end, like the new disclosure stuff that came out, I would be like, you know, that's probably like interdimensional, like weird shit.
Yeah, that's my philosophy on that. Yeah, I think so.
I find that like that idea interesting. Like I find it like there's a lot there that you could like if I was like I have like films that I'm like writing that are like kind of like loosely based on the idea of like, you know, coexisting like dimensionalities and stuff. Yeah. So
you
like
don't have the right, you don't have the right radio to pick it up, or whatever way you want to look at it. Like they're here, but they're not, you just don't see it because you don't have the right.
Exactly. And like that goes back to And like that,
That's
like
good.
my interest in
like
like those kind of ideas goes back to like one of the first episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark I ever watched. The Tale of the Super Specs.
Yeah, buddy.
Remember that episode?
Yeah,
deep cut.
I used to love
Like
that show, man. I watched it over and over.
That episode still fucks me up. It's like, you know, he puts on those glasses that he like accidentally cursed, and you can see into another dimension of these like people in like just like shadowy figures.
Yeah.
So like I've always been like really drawn to like that idea of like interdimensional beings and stuff. And like I was watching a video the other day of like I've been getting really into like YouTube reaction videos lately. It's such a weird like it's such a bizarre format, but like I find it super interesting to like watch people just like watch something for the first time. Yeah, so like they were it was like these two like Atlanta rappers watching like listening to like different like music for the first time, like metal and like punk and
know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about.
And they did Faye Up to Oyad from Tool's Lateralis album, which has that sample from Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast AM. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, where the guy calls in claiming to be
I've only got 10 seconds.
Former Area 51 employee. Yes. Yeah. And he's like talking about like how they're interdimensional beings and stuff. And like I remember hearing that for the first time and being like, holy
like
fuck.
Art Bell stuff.
Art Bell, yeah. Coast to Coast AM. That's like my favorite thing.
Yeah, I was Coast to Coast. Yeah, I was pretty into Art Bell in high school.
I love it.
I didn't like Greg, what's his name, when he took over, but
because there's George Knapp.
Totally fascinated me too.
And there's 3 hosts of it. I can't remember the guys, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't mind George.
Art was the only one for me. Art just had a charm to him.
But the old ones are really good. I love
I'm pretty sure I have like an archive of like old episodes on like one of my hard drives.
You should figure that out and put them somewhere.
I will find them.
They're hard to find, man, because you got to subscribe to their thing. And
Soulseek is still running, and you can find that stuff on there actually.
Oh, shit. That's one thing I've been trying to find. It's like old, like because there's an episode about the Mana Machine that I want to re-listen to.
Okay.
And what's the other one? It's the Mana Machine, and then there's another one. It's the dudes who are using predictive technology based on the like internet chatting, like not like in chat rooms, but like what social media talks about, what Google searches are doing, and they predict things that happen in the future, like up this, whatever year and a half, 18 months down the road, or whatever it equates to, or whatever. And they're fucking super accurate. And this is like, this is like 10 years ago, maybe, or whatever it is, maybe longer than now, 15 years ago at this juncture even. Really? So I can't imagine what that looks like now, because I know it still exists. But I want to listen to the original interview about it, because they explain how the technology works. And like at the time, they make some really serious predictions that actually did come true, because of course, like in true coast to coast fashion, they went back and was like, is this real or not? You know what I mean? They didn't just fuck with everything or whatever. So
I'd say check Soulseek. You can probably find it on there. Like if you know like the date that it happened and stuff, you could probably track it down through illicit means.
Yeah, because I've searched for it a few times, but I couldn't find it. But the Mana Machine is really interesting too. But it translates the Bible when they're talking about
they're
in the desert, and it talks, because if you read the Bible and you listen, and you translate what he's actually saying about how they're feeding themselves.
There was
it's interesting.
There was a recent episode of QAnon Anonymous that talks about that as well. Actually, that gets into it. I'll find that episode and send it to you.
Yes,
but what was I going to say?
Like super interesting, because it talks about like essentially like if you translate what he's saying into a blueprint, you can build a machine that creates an algae that you can live off of. So it has all the sustainable life, like proteins, nutrients, whatever bullshit goes into food, that you can just eat this and it'll completely keep you alive for as long as you can eat it. But this machine that if you kind of translate it in a more like, think about it as a technology versus a spiritual thing or whatever, then you can basically build this apparatus that they have built that will create algae that will continue to, it just keeps going and going and goes.
Keeps regenerating.
Yeah, whatever way it works with the sunlight and the water and the whatever, however it all works, it just continuously generates, and you can feed up to a certain number of people, which translates to the amount of people, and it's all this stuff anyway. it's like the same as like the pyramids, like, equate to pi, and then that equates to blah, 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 and then it's all this math stuff. But yeah, it's a similar idea. And I've never been able to find the episode. I've watched it like a couple times on YouTube, and then when YouTube started pulling all the episodes off, I haven't been able to find that episode again. But it's super interesting. Like, it's one of the most fascinating interviews I've ever listened to in my life, probably. But Coast to Coast AM is like a big hit for me. That was one thing, because I used to actually listen to it. Used to be able to listen to rebroadcasts on something, but Real Player was the thing to listen to it on.
Yeah.
And that's how I originally, same thing, like got back into it, like early when Art was still doing it, like before like George and everybody else got involved in it. Fucking loved it, man.
That was like 99, 2000 when I was listening.
Oh yeah, so good, man. I think the first time I ever heard of it was like probably 97, 98. Because I seen it on a documentary, and then I remember I was like, I got to figure out how to listen to this.
Have you seen or heard Whitley Strieber's podcast?
No.
The guy who wrote Communion?
No.
Yeah, Communion, like that, like the classic like alien abduction text. The guy who wrote that, fucking what's his name?
Like
actor.
like the book, like from the book. You mean? Hey, we got a reaction camera there somehow.
Thumbs up for the bros.
What's his name? The guy who there's an actor I'm thinking of. I can't fucking think of his name right now.
It's not Vin
but he
Diesel,
played him.
Is it?
No, it's tragically not Vin Diesel.
Come on,
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Hey, that's pretty close.
Was in a movie based. He played Whitley Strieber in a movie based on Communion, but it's like the classic like alien abduction text. And yeah, that guy has a podcast called Wonderland. That's pretty fun to listen to.
I love stuff like that. That's another thing. I like hearing the abduction stories. I like hearing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
like my absolute favorite fucking conspiracy theory in the entire universe is flat Earth. That's my favoriteest. I love it. And I'm not saying like I believe in it. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is it's my favorite because it's fucking hilarious. It is nuts. And like I am the first person to be like, the government sucks. And they are telling you bullshit and they're showing you bullshit. Like, but man, come on. And like, I love it though. I love hearing people talk about it.
I've always been partial to Hollow Earth theory.
Hollow Earth is really good too. I really like Hollow Earth. I really like, and not that I don't disagree with Antarctica. I don't believe in the wall. I'm not into the wall theory. I'm not denying that like the shit that they got plunked into the ground up there is doing weird shit, like the DARPA stuff and whatever crazy other shit they got going on there. They don't tell you about. I don't deny any of that. And maybe there is still Nazis there. Who knows? But. Yeah, the Antarctica new theory, like, it kind of falls into the flat Earth category to me to a certain degree, because I feel like to believe in one, you have to believe into the other thing for some reason.
Right.
I can't fathom a giant mangus round Earth that, you know what I mean? Like, I can't how much bigger is this fucking place then? So, but yeah, I like the Antarctica theory where there's a wall and you fly over the wall and there's fucking people, richer people, even richer people than fucking Elon Musk or whoever the fucking, they're over there fucking pulling strings, right? Like, that's a bit funny too. I really like those.
A recent one that I really liked is the Afghanistan giant theory. You know that one?
I don't exactly. I know I have a familiarity of what you're talking.
You guys know way more conspiracy theories
like
than I do.
We could just do
enlighten me.
We could do 3 more hours just on this if you really want to.
Tell me what the Afghanistan giant over here.
I think I'm pretty positive I know what you're talking about anyway.
Yeah, there's like this, this guy who claims that like he has connections to the military and that they found.
Yeah,
the remains, like the skeleton of a giant, like the U.S. military found the skeleton of a giant in Afghanistan, and is like
years ago or whatever, and they covered it up.
Like during like the I guess like during the original invasion, like after 9/11 or whatever, and like that they covered it up, and like it like ties back to like lots of like biblical stuff about like the
Babylonian giants
or like whatever that like
the blonde haired giants and all that crazy shit.
Angels came down and like mated with humans and gave like birth to this like fucking giant, like this like these like giants and stuff. There's a really good YouTube channel actually.
Because technically it's all to do with like, and that's all Northlandic or whatever you want to say, like kind of where that kind of spawned from. Like, it's crazy. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
There's a really good YouTube channel called, I think, Mysterious Middle East, and they do like these like short, like 15-minute video essays about like.
You just send me all your things.
Like,
link me to everything. Link me to everything.
I will send you
my favorite topic. Favorite topic, man. Favorite topic. And especially if it's got something to do with aliens, and you can tell me that has something to do with the Middle East. More specifically, if you tell me it's something to do with the pyramids, I am like that's because Stargate is my favoriteest thing in the universe, and then putting that in reality is like my favorite thing ever. Putting them up. Putting them up. Illuminati
page over here.
Putting up some loomies.
Just joining the.
It's a wonder we didn't get a reaction from that on the screen, actually. But
don't mind.
That is like in terms of my favorite research, that is probably my favorite thing. Like that potentially like aliens or whatever the fuck, somebody more competent than us built pyramids, and they're not just because they're not shrines. That's stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard because they're just not built that way. But like I like the fact that they're power generators. Like that's my favorite shit in the world. Like I went to Mexico and seen the fucking pyramids in Mexico. It's like Chichen Itza and shit like that.
Aztec.
Same pretense. Well, it would have been the what the fuck am I trying to say? Anyways, Mayans. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I kept going for sacrifice. I don't know what it is. It's not like a sink was there sacrificing people at the top of the mountain. That's but like even seeing that shit in person was like. This is pretty wild. Like, this isn't even that technical, like what they have here. This is a square box on top of a square box. On top, you know what I mean? It's fairly, I'm not saying easy because they had sticks and stones or whatever they were dealing with, but then I'm like, holy fuck, man. These dudes were moving the pyramid. Like, the pyramid stones are as big as this house. Like, one stone is as big as this house. And they're moving it from 500 kilometers away.
Super.
On top of another stone that's slightly larger than the one you're trying to put on top of it. Like,
like the combination of engineering and manpower that took is fucking wild.
Yeah, like whatever however the fuck they did that. Because then there's like that dude like down in the States in Maryland or whatever it is who built that fucking castle place, and he only worked during the night. And then like people would like see him working.
What are you talking about?
Oh, look at I can't remember what it is. Like I'm like it's something that like I know I've seen it in documentaries a bunch of times. I can't remember what it is. He was like a professor maybe or like a doctor of something or something. I can't really remember what the exact details, but he built this giant castle thing with pyramids and crazy shit. But he was into he was friends kind of with like Aleister Crowley or into Aleister Crowley, I guess, or whatever way it worked.
Okay.
There's something to do. And anyways,
is it Jack Parsons? Is that who you're talking about?
I can't really remember what his name is. You have to look it up. But
I am.
Oh, it's crazy. So then he worked during the night. And people will be watching his shit like progress because I mean it's a fucking castle, like it's hard to miss. It's like and it's right. It's not like it was up on a hill behind a cliff. It's like right in the middle of everywhere, like in the middle of a field. And he would only work during the night, and he would do this crazy shit. So like they would go to bed, and it would be like a wall, like you could averagely pick it up the blocks and move. Like it makes sense how you did it. But then they would wake up the next morning and come there, and he would work all night, and they would come there, and there'd be these like giant rocks that were like humongous, and like they'd be like tipped up on their end, perfectly balanced. Blah blah blah, like stuff that like I mean not to say you can't do it, but one person working during the night by themselves with like nothing essentially were building this crazy shit. But he was really into like occult stuff and into people think he deciphered some of the scripts that tell how the Egyptians built shit. Because there's a bunch of scripts and a bunch of stuff that does it like Sanskrit and stuff that people haven't translated it. Or whatever.
The Crowley connection makes me think it might have been Jack Parsons.
It's funny, man. That sounds pretty close, but
because he was involved in a lot of stuff. He was like a rocket scientist.
Yeah, and it could be him, like because I know he was like a professor, like I say, or a doctor, whatever. Like he was a smart dude. It's not like he was just some Joe Blow, but he like quit his job to do this, and he ended up building this crazy palace castle thing or whatever by himself. But like I say, there's like Stonehenge type stuff. There's like pyramid type stuff involved in it. There's certain places where like acoustics are weird, kind of like a Coliseum type of a thing where like you can stand there and like 100 feet away you can hear shit, and it's super interesting, man. It's worth looking into. But like apparently he deciphered like, or whatever, that's the theory, is that he deciphered some of this text and figured out how they moved giant blocks with vibration or whatever they were talking about. It was pretty sick, actually. There's a full documentary about him even. It's fucking sick.
Yeah. Try to remember who that was and send it to me because that.
Like, I will figure it out because now that I'm onto it, I want to see it. I feel like
I'm familiar with that, but I'm like not 100% sure.
It was in like I know the first time I ever heard talk of it, it was in like remember when A&E, used to have documentaries on like Sundays and like late at night or whatever. There would be weird shit like that before the History Channel kind of took over that. stuff, like the weird conspiracy shit. There was like these weird things on A&E. That's the first time I heard of it. It was like a documentary on like occult shit or whatever they were focusing on. And I've seen all that because there was an Aleister Crowley segment and there was this segment. It was the whole episode was just these two segments. And I was like, holy shit, that's nuts. And then I kind of fell down this rabbit hole, like looking him up in books and stuff. But like there's books about him, like he's written, he's documented. It's not like this. But nobody really knows how he did it.
Do you remember the tomb openings on Fox? Tutankhamun. Who was the host of that? I can't remember.
Oh, fucking the same dude. Oh my god,
Tutankhamun.
It's like oh fuck, I was right on the tip of my tongue, but it's the dude that does all the History Channel shit too. It's the same because he's the antiquities manager of Egypt or whatever the fuck it is. Like he's the guy.
I thought it was someone funny. Like I thought it was. I can't remember what it was.
I feel like Geraldo Rivera did a few of them.
Yeah, I thought
there was a host.
He did the.
But he was in person in the studio. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't in the tomb. He was in the studio, and he was almost like reacting to the video as it was happening.
Geraldo did the Al Capone, didn't he? He did
the Al Capone vault.
Yeah, Al Capone vault.
And there was fuck all in it, wasn't it? There was fuck all in it or whatever? Like,
there was nothing. It was just a fucking,
like,
just a big old cock tease.
Nice. That's funny. That's funny.
Pivoting a little.
That's super funny. I forgot about that.
Keeping in like the same.
That's super funny.
Keeping in the like the occult UFO realm, but pivoting a little and kind of connected to internet stuff as well. It was 2 days ago was the anniversary, my birthday actually, the anniversary of the Heaven's Gate mass suicide.
Man, do you want to know a funny story? Just then, I was opening up my browser like before we started doing the podcast. I remember we were talking about Heaven Gates the other day, and there was a thing that popped up in my Google search when I must have clicked something or whatever, like to read, like in the history. Yeah. That's what just popped up.
With
Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, they were discovered on my 12th birthday.
That's mad.
Holy
That's mad.
Yeah,
they were. Yeah.
March 26th, 1997.
Heaven's Gate.
I was like, and like, obviously I was already into that weird shit. So I was like, a UFO cult? I'm like, what?
Oh, what?
Haley's Comet.
Was it not Haley's Comet? Hale Bop.
Hale Bop. Yeah.
Hale Bop.
I was gonna say Bop again.
They thought there was they thought there was like a UFO coming behind the Hale Bop comet that was going to like take them to like the next realm of reality.
Oh, damn.
See that so that's the thing too. So like I got into this cult thing, and then that turned me on to the fucking Planet X thing. Right, because it's not that it's necessarily attached, but then that got into that. So there's a whole thing like there's the Dogon tribe. Like I can start this wherever you want. Really. I can start this off 25,000 years ago. I can start this tomorrow, whatever. But essentially, like it's basically like
we got Bop comments and everything.
There's a planet. The other planet. What would it be? What is it? The 13th planet? I'm half cut here and everything else. 13th planet or whatever. It's one more than what we know about. However many planets there are, there's one more than that, and it comes around every like 33,000 years.
The idea is that it has like a slightly different orbit.
Yeah,
so like
it's elliptical and it comes in funny
anomalies.
So like the last time that
it causes anomalies in like the other orbits.
So like if you timeline like giant tragic world events like fucking natural disasters or whatever. Crazy shit like mud fucking
slides.
Well, not even they're like mud earthquakes or whatever they call them, where it turns like it's just like the vibration is so much it turns the fucking dirt under your feet to like nothing, and you just fall through. Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Anyway, so like the whole thing is that they're coming around. Anyway, yeah. There's like a whole Planet X theory that like this planet is coming around in orbit, but the government's not telling us about it because when it passes by, it's gonna fucking turn tides and flip the planet or whatever, like turn the fucking poles around, all kinds of crazy shit because it's going to come so close into orbit. Mm-hmm. Comes within like 22,000 kilometers or something, whatever the measurement is. It's very close. You can reach out and touch it almost. In terms of like space stuff, it's fucking uber close. It comes right by kind of thing, according to the theory. And then there's people who are taking, like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen it, but people take pictures of the like, because it's, what is it called? The red planet or whatever. And the people take pictures of like the double suns. And people are like, that's it. That's Nibiru coming around. So, like, the Dogon tribe believe that it's the other moon of Sirius B. And when it comes around, the Anunnaki fucking fly to Earth and will present him with new knowledge. And, like, I mean, that's the original idea, but it's gone on to this whole crazy fucking thing. And the Dogon, it's funny, if you research the Dogon tribe, they're, like, older than the Egyptians. Like, they're, like, pre-Sumerian, technically. Wow. And they've been passing down this fucking like it's in pictographs, like hieroglyphs, but they call them like a pictograph, and the pictograph tells stories and it describes things that like make sense, and like they knew about DNA and like weird stuff. Like Dogon Tribe stuff is really fucking interesting shit. Like because they're so old and they know weird stuff.
The first time I heard about that, like the whole Planet X thing, was I think in an issue of X Factor.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly how it was. The one with it is this Planet X. I pulled up a cover of it.
I feel like I remember going to your place to play like Legend of Zelda or something.
Yeah,
and
probably.
Like you had it on your coffee table. I was like,
what's this? My weird shit was out in the open. Yeah, like I love that shit. Like I was into that shit from a super young age. Like super young age, and I don't even know why. But I think it was like X-Files drew me in real early. Like I loved Unsolved Mysteries, and when they brought up like aliens or something weird, I was like,
like I didn't give a shit about like any of like the true crime unsolved murder.
No, didn't give a fuck about boring. that. Only ones were like true, like big serial killers. Everything else, whatever.
Yeah, second a farmer seen something weird in the barn. You're
but
like,
they went
what's
into
this?
like because like what's the original one? Him and his missus and his wife, like they were driving down the road.
Oh, Betty and Barney.
Betty and Barney, yeah, and they're just driving down the road because like that's a funny thing because I think about the Flintstones. Like they definitely stole that from that story or something. Like whichever way that went, something funny about that. But I always think about that, right? Like that's the OG story. That's the OG abduction story, right? Driving down the road, suddenly the vehicle shuts off, weird light, flashlight, whatever it is, missing time suddenly, and then, or my time. Like I looked at my watch, but the time stopped. Or when I looked at my watch, it was 3 hours later. Like no conception of what actually happened. Weird shit.
The anus hurts so
and your
bad.
butt hurts for some reason, and you've got this weird looby stuff all over you.
Okay, that's the South Park influence in me.
But that's
anal probe.
But you think
alien.
But that's something that comes up all the time. Weird shit like that. It's not necessarily anal probes, but they always probe you in some way, right? Like
probing, implants.
Implants one gets me because I feel like some schizophrenics.
The butthole.
Yeah.
Or like I think that because you have to be like, oh, I can hear the voices in my head, and like, man, because then I don't know. Like, have you? I don't know. Like, we're gonna get deep here now, I guess.
Okay.
But
deep like an anal probe.
It's anybody. Yeah. This is a colonoscopy here now. But
go deep with the anal probe here now.
But have you ever seen the videos of like the schizophrenic dudes? They're freaking out and they're like, man, the dude is talking to me in my head or whatever crazy shit. And then they're like, some whatever doctor cuts the fucker open wherever he says there's something in his leg or whatever where the fuck it happens to be, and there's a little black weird looking thing that they can't figure out what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And I don't see lots of them, but the ones I do are pretty convincing. At least to me.
Even like
sometimes I'm like, man, that's a fucking weird thing.
Even if it was just like an inert piece of metal or whatever, like those they can
pick
up like
what is that?
People like picking up like radio signals through their braces and stuff, and like when my band was recording our first demo, our guitar player's amp was picking up an AM FM. Like an AM radio signal.
Man, that's had to be a billion times.
And like
playing in different gigs and different
I think
bars.
the intro of the demo is the like whatever like VOCM or whatever like VOWR coming through like Jules's amp.
Oh yeah, man.
So like
kind of sick.
We built the whole system in the studio to get around all that like ground crap, right? Because that's stuff that happens. Like your pickups are literally pickups. Like they'll pick up anything. If they're tuned in, they'll grab it, right? If you're close enough. Oh yeah, I've had lots of that kind of stuff happen. That's funny.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's like totally plausible that like, metal could like, transmit the signal that it's picking up, like, and like, the sound waves, like, you wouldn't hear it externally, but like it's making the vibrations like through.
And maybe it's like, and then there's other weird shit, like, because like to me, vibration stuff is interesting, right? Because that's technically in reality, or in our terms at least, what we're all doing out here is just vibrating.
Yeah, really. Like everything. Like
so, like, how easy is it to manipulate that in reality, right? And then knowing stuff about sound, like really weird shit about sound now,
frequencies and stuff.
Yeah, it's like okay, so like in reality, so like if you put that piece, like I said, even inert doesn't matter. Like, but if you put it in a specific place, like why is it always in specific same places?
Yeah,
is that because it doesn't do anything for me? Like we can't analyze it in a way that makes any sense. And does it do something? Is it
could
fucking
like
up?
Be a certain like electrical signal that's like going through your nervous system? That
like is it the proper weight? Is this chunk the proper weight to pick up potential energy in the wherever, because that's really all radio waves are, is just potential energy, is just whatever, right? So like, is it tuned into those things, and that makes you pick it up? Like, it's just all these weird things. I could go on here. I could do this for days. I love conspiracy theory stuff, but then because it always has another layer too, which is always fun, right? Like, and if you're willing to just forget the fact that things are real, and just fall into the hole or whatever, like peel back the layer and keep peeling it back. Some stuff is really funny. That's why I love hearing people talk to me about Antarctica. I'm like, yeah, tell me all about it, man. Just tell me all about it. Tell me all about it. There is extra rich people on the other side pulling strings and making us do all this stupid shit. 100%. Tell me more. I love it. Right? Like, it's the best, man. That's the funnest shit in the universe. Is hearing people's crazy shit. Man.
I don't know where. About that.
I don't know where it started from. But
about that. Where's
the flat Earth and Antarctica thing? Like, because what is it? The firmament? Is that what the word I'm looking for? The firmament, right?
The firm.
Yeah, because they think there's like a bubble. Oh, my son, this gets right crazy. I'm telling you right now. This is like and I love it. I could just talk because I don't believe any of it. I just think it's wicked to talk about because if it is in reality real, good for them.
Well,
good for them. Man. You're super good at whatever you're doing. So to me, so there's a couple different versions of it or whatever, but the one that I'm find most interesting is the firmament issue. So in Antarctica, they're saying like there's this giant wall of ice.
Yes.
So because like technically, and I get what they're saying.
That before,
so I get what they're saying, right? Is that there is a no-fly zone. You can't really do much research without proper permits. Like there's kind of like these funny restrictions that cause you to believe that you can't do it.
So no one can fly across Antarctica.
You can't fly and film or anything like that. You have special, and if you do, you have to have special permits and stuff like that, right? Like it's like it's almost like a militarized zone or something. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like, but then the other side of the coin is there's like tons of research going on up there, and there's always government projects, and there's like DARPA's there, and they got all this crazy shit. Like, and then they share it with other countries, and it's a weird place to be and whatever. So people are like, it gives you a reason to believe. Because you can't see it for your own eyes in the way you want to,
right? That
there's something foolish going on there. So then you got people saying like, so there's a firmament. So then this giant wall is there, and on the other side of this wall are essentially like another huge civilization that lives on the other side of this wall of ice. And there's regions like if you could picture like a Hunger Game. I don't know if I'm not really familiar with Hunger Games, but I know enough about. Say if you were to think of Hunger Games, that there's different regions. It's like that. So it's like a video game. Like if you were to like watch any anime, essentially is this essentially in one way, shape, or form. So on the other side of the firmament, which is this giant ice wall, there are all these zones of people who live there, and they all have various functions. So our function is to be slaves and whatever, make money or whatever way you want to look at it or whatever the thing is. Right? But on the other side, then this segment is not slaves. They're the people in control of something else, and then these people are in control of whatever way. Right, so now the only way to see these people is to get over to firmament. Like, it gets fucking crazy.
I'll tell you what.
The really funny thing about that to me is it kind of goes back to that Naomi Klein quote I mentioned. How like that gets the feeling right. It's like there are a bunch of like rich people who fucking control everything. They're not a shadowy cabal. They're
100%,
and they're not politicians.
Yeah, they're just a bunch.
They're
of
not over the ice wall. They're right
there.
They're right behind the door.
Is fucking
that like I think that like.
Irish crickets.
The idea that there is like that it's like these people that we can like recognize and like who are
come on,
intrinsically part of like the society that we live in is like too much for like certain people. Like that's too intense, so they have to like they're over on the other side of the ice wall controlling us.
Yeah, it's over there. It's over there.
It kind of like separates you from the reality of that of like the exploitation that like
actually does happen.
The entire fucking exactly.
It actually happens.
It's in your back door. It's not behind an ice wall, right?
Yeah, it's literally right there. Like the shoes you're wearing, and you can't hardly even avoid it. Like without doing like your boss research and like being like, oh, this company I know specifically takes absolutely nothing from a person. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like and in terms of a downfall way or whatever, right? Like in a negative way. It's almost impossible because everything is. So
it's like
it's crazy.
Yeah, like in I not to get like super like political or whatever, but like I'm a Marxist. Like my analysis of the way the world works is rooted in like the idea of like class exploitation and stuff.
And,
like capitalism as like an economic system is totalizing. Like that's like the basic like idea behind Marxism is that like capitalism controls like all the other facets of like how we exist in the world, and like it feeds like there's a back and forth like feed between like the way capitalism makes us exist results in us like shifting like kind of what capitalism is, and like it goes back and forth and stuff. But like, you know, there is no like real escaping it until there's like, you know, a collapse. You know, there has like, in order to like to escape it, you have to like organize to create a situation like, you know, the Russian Revolution or whatever, like to actually like overthrow it, you know.
And to go fully backwards, you have to like take it to a point where like you're making your own shoes. You know what I mean? Though, like in real, if that's what people want, or some, you know, if that's what it is, you have to take it back to the point where like it becomes a barter thing. It's me making my thing or growing my thing, and then giving it to you in exchange for the thing that you're good at, or you know what I mean? Like it's funny situation.
Yeah, like it's just like, you know, it's like there's that meme that's like, you know, like capitalism made your iPhone or whatever. It's like, no, well, labor made the iPhone. It's, you know, capitalism that determines who got rich off of like making that iPhone.
There's a degree of innovation that's incorporated into that. That's the part that I like. I'm not, to be fair, like I'm not anything, I guess. In reality, I don't care what people do in reality in any way. But there's a certain aspect of the competition that is driving the innovation too. But there's a certain portion of it is like, which I don't agree with. It's just like, it's like 90% of it is to waste anyway. Really?
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm cool with the cool shit. I do this. Yeah. I love cool shit. I love technology. It's all worth it. But there's also most of this is really bullshit.
Yeah, and like the way I approach like the concept of like innovation and stuff under capitalism is like capitalism, like look at like medical like stuff. Like we could have like Cuba's medical system is, you know, Cuba's a communist country. It like has the most advanced medical system in the world. Basically, like they've developed vaccines that we don't have, like against like lung cancer and stuff. And like they've managed to do that because the motive is like the social good rather than profit. So it's like, you know, what could we have achieved?
Oh, it can be done
in this innovation if we were like, you know, pursuing, you know, innovation for innovation's sake rather than innovation for profit's sake.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like I love all the fucking technology I have, but we could probably have cooler technology if we weren't trying to like, you know, we wouldn't have AI.
The problem is that we do have cooler technology, but they don't want to give it to you because that makes this technology irrelevant because it's already 40 steps ahead anyway. Right? Like that's what I mean by shit, right? Like it's all junk anyway, because by the time you put it in your hand, it's already outdated. In true, you know, yes, it functions with the latest, greatest shit and does, you know, whatever. But the true reality of all the stuff you do is, by the time you see it, because of R&D and, you know, whether it's, you know, it's doesn't matter what type of, you know, situation you're in, what you're actually seeing is something that's already fully developed and you know, function tested. It's been technically invented for 5-10 years. The thing that's on the back burner is really like what's interesting. And like, that's the thing is like, which one would work? Or not necessarily work better, but which one functions better in the end, right? Like that's the cool, interesting thing. But I agree with what you're saying, 100%. I just like, I like seeing what other people like to say when I say shit. But
on that note, guys, I should probably call it a night. It's like 12:30 here, so I gotta get to bed.
Yeah, man, we'll call it in here now.
Let's wrap it up, folks.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll send you like all those links.
Send me some links, man.
Yeah, well, it was great.
I'm down to do this anytime you guys want to.
Great having you on the pod. We appreciate your time
awesome.
And taking the time out to have us a little chat here, and we can discuss so many things. A lot of enlightening things. Definitely a lot of things that I was just like totally listening to. Felt like I was listening to a podcast there for a little while. So
we can get off the rails a bit with the conspiracy stuff and stuff like that, but it's fun though.
I love it.
Yeah, no, that was a solid 3-hour podcast.
Seriously?
Hell yeah. So we'll probably break that one into 2 parts.
All right.
And then, but yeah, no, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks, man, for fucking coming on and fucking shooting shit with us and getting out with foolishness and listening to us be fucking foolish too. But no, that was excellent. Yeah, we'll definitely have you back again. Fucking, we'll do it again sometime soon here now.
Absolutely.
But yeah, cheers, man. We'll see everybody next time. And it has been another episode of, and the year was 1985.
Eagle has landed.